Our final best ball breakfast before the schedule is announced. Pretty soon, the bye week bros will emerge. The week 17 is all that matter bros will emerge. But today, one last day of just pure uncut drafting, taking the best players. I'll be doing a solo draft. Then we will have Adam Levitan. Then we will have Sam Sherman. And then, of course, batting cleanup, Pat Kerrane. And then immediately following Best Ball Breakfast over on the So You Think You Can Tout YouTube channel, we will have a live premiere unveiling who made the initial cut for the So You Think You Can Tout cast. It's going to be a great day. I'm Pete Overzet. This is Best Ball Breakfast. Let's roll.
Welcome to hot best ball summer. You slurp that suspension dipperino, honey.
Easy to click on Rashad White when it's all site credits.
Exodia.
Put the puppy in the bag, bro. Try to grow the goddamn game.
The game is beatable, folks.
Slap King Summer, bitches.
7,000 hours of commercial-free best ball drafts starts now.
All right. How are we doing? Good morning, Chris. Daniel already drumming up the likes. Be ahead of the market on hitting the like. Imagine the CLV you could get on hitting the like button now when it's only at whatever it is before it eventually gets to 200, 300 likes. Get in on the ground floor. What is up, Who Hames? I already saw in the chat, I apparently have everybody all riled up for reveals and mysteries and twists after last week's After Dark. No, the thumbnail today was just Pat won, Best Ball Mania 3. Sam won Best Ball Mania 6. Who's going to win Best Ball Mania 7? So I'm sorry if you thought I was going to unveil a mystery guest. Although I will say next week, Levitan is not going to be here. So maybe I will have a mystery guest filling in for him next week. What is up? Genty here says GM from the audio listener crew. Happy Monday, everyone. Yes, happy Monday indeed. Sweet Leaf is wake and baked. Congratulations. All of that good stuff. Paul out here member mogging, GM streaming on my dashboard. Member for 56 months. We appreciate you, Paul. G-Temp is bricked up. Josh, what's up? Robert. Oh, man. Yeah, we got to talk about this, right? Casey says they've taken Gadsden from us. Yes, if you are just logging on this morning, David Njoku has signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. I'll be interesting to see where our crew today drafting has moved him in the ranks. I know Dwayne just adjusted him in the fantasy life rankings here. This is what Dwayne said. I was talking with him this morning. He says it's a pretty tricky situation to project. We have 3 tight ends on the roster plus a fullback, so we're going to see less 3 wide receiver sets, which, where did my camera go? Man. The Aronde Gadsden Hive did not like me discussing the David Njoku situation there. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Anyways, he said Gadsden falls from low end tight end 1 range to mid range tight end 2 with upside. Which wide receivers will get squeezed for routes, or maybe they all get squeezed some? Bottom line, everyone in this offense offers a wide range of outcomes. It's an offense we want to bet on, but pinning down who will get enough playing time is the tough part. So no hard and concrete reactions quite yet, but we will talk it through today. Joe says Pete dominating the first 4 hours of each week. That's what we got to do. We got to get shot out of a cannon, help us get on the right foot for the week, and then we can stay productive. Unfortunately, Keaton, I am not joking. I am dead serious here. The people got rug pulled from Chad Candles not streaming this morning. Yeah, he's the lead-in for Best Ball Breakfast. Sorry to hear that. What is up, Mike? 57 months gets to hit Paul with the too small on the 1 extra month in his membership history. GMs all around. We shall see. Colton says BBM7 winner will inevitably be part of Pete's drafters coaching tree. I think we're due for an off one. We went, I guess it was Herzig. Then it was Liam on. I guess Liam and Pat were back to back. 4 was Fareed Shaheed, who was a Swolecast fan. 5 was LGRE, who never made himself known publicly. I think he's bouncing around in a few Discords, but never did any publicity. And then Sam 6. So we will see. We'll see if we can keep the tree, like David Kitchen, fresh and fertile. All right. I think what we need to do here, I need to pour some coffee. I have had 1 cup already this morning, but that is not sufficient. So let's get a coffee pour. Let's get Best Ball Breakfast rolling here. Lots to discuss, lots to get to. So a pretty nice pour, I think, acoustically. Unfortunately, there was a little spillage, little drippage onto to my shorts, but that's my problem, not your guys's. Hopefully the ASMR hit for you coffee freaks. PPR Tyler in the chat says, speaking of rug pulled, Trojan horse. Yeah, if you guys missed what unfolded last week on After Dark, I invited the Toxic Crew on, which is, of course, PPR Tyler, Emo Cowboy, and BBG Best Ball Guy. But it was not your typical After Dark. No, it was a Trojan horse. Rickadoozle, one of the villains, the antagonists in the world of So You Think You Can Tout, hopped on in place of PPR Tyler and BBG. Some people were delighted. Some people were pissed. I demand a refund, which I did offer, by the way, to anyone who felt rug pulled because they came over to see BBG. Oh, no, this could be a rough show. If my camera's doing this thing, I might end up having to do a very quick restart because this always drives me crazy, but we'll get to the bottom of that. But anyways, After Dark was lit last week. Very fun show with Rickadoozle and Emo Cowboy. And that actually reminds me, I'm going to do a special edition of After Dark tonight. Here's why. Today at 2 p.m. Eastern, like I said, following the show, So You Think You Can Tout, the cast reveal, I have promised, I think I mentioned this on a previous show, maybe it was last week, maybe it was on the Bash, anyone who applied who didn't make the show or didn't get the Mayo treatment, if they want my kind of unfiltered, honest reaction to their submission, if they want like actual notes, I'm going to do that tonight on After Dark. I'm just going to fire up a stream. Who's ever in the chat, I'm happy to talk about some submissions. If you want to come in the chat, nominate your submission to be discussed, I will give my honest feedback. This week in the P.O. Box newsletter, I wrote some advice for people with, future auditions, content creation. I'm trying to do my best to not only make this, an entertainment product for people to consume and follow along with, but actually have it be valuable for the people who do want to be content creators. So tonight, special Monday edition of After Dark. If you're licking your wounds after not making the show, feel free to swing by and I will happily give you the feedback that you are looking for. Yes. After Dark tonight will always be members, will be members only. All right, let's see. What else do we need to get to housekeeping wise here? I think we are in good shape. I think it is time to hop in a draft. Let's get rocking with the BBM. The schedule is going to drop, I believe Thursday. I know we're starting to get some things already trickling out. And if it is anything like last year as well, it'll be a long trickle process. We'll start to get little breadcrumbs throughout the day, but always a fun time of the year. I'm specifically looking forward to it this year because I felt like the drafting landscape was so similar between pre-NFL draft and post-draft. Normally the rookies shake up the landscape a lot more than it did this year. And it really feels like we had been drafting in the same slate for the past, 4 months or whatever. I'm excited for the schedule. I'm excited for a really big, unique variable to help mix up the draft board, give us new missions, so to speak, in these drafts. So like you guys, I'm excited for that schedule, excited to start correlating and all of that fun stuff. Let's get the board up on the screen and we will get rocking here with my Best Ball Mania draft. We have the 105 here. And I should go ahead and sync my exposures as well before we get going here with the solver. Make sure that we are all up to date here. We'll go in here. If you guys have the solver, you go over to your completed tab, go to the slate, you hit sync now. And now we will have all of our exposures synced up in here. We can see things like how we have 0% Puka Nacua so far. 22.2% JSN and another 105. So assuming Libre here goes Puka, we will once again be hit with a JSN share. Should we mix it up? I think it's too early in the year. We'll just keep clicking the best available player here and grab another share of JSN to start. Let's see here. I need to refresh the solver, make sure we are good to go there. As a reminder, guys, you can always get 20% off the solver in those memberships. Everything you're seeing here with the overlay tool, the suggestions, the overlay score, all of that good stuff. And my new favorite thing, the combinatorial ownership here. So see how I have selected JSN? In the first column, it just shows me my exposure to these players. In the second column, it shows me my combo exposure to JSN. So you can see here, 25% of my JSN teams have Drake London. Another 25% have Rashee Rice. And you can go down here and basically see who you've been pairing up these picks with. I think it'll be particularly helpful as the offseason progresses and the portfolio gets bigger, and really kind of identifying some of those blind spots of like, oh, I always pair JSN with Drake London. Let me mix that up a bit. So use promo code Pete at the solver. That'll get you 20% off, and you can get up and rolling with all kinds of bells and whistles while you draft on desktop. Man, I'm going to have to mess with my camera here. One sec. Let's just deal with a little short-term pain of me vamping. I will make this pick, and then I am going to mess with my camera so this stops happening. Just a really rocky start to Best Ball Breakfast. So we're going to pick at 2-8. We start with JSN. As you can see, I have done the Drake London. I've done the Brock Bowers. I don't think there's any running backs I want to take here. Well, we could take Chase Brown. Let's do Chase Brown. We have not done Chase Brown yet. Solver suggestions are London, Brown, McBride. We know how treacherous it can be if you fall behind there at running back. So we'll grab a Chase Brown share. I mean, a guy who, man, talk about dodging bullets and stepping through the minefield of the NFL draft. This guy, Chase Brown, just keeps doing it over and over again. All right. My camera's going to go dark for a second as I plug in and plug something out. 1 second. All right. Hopefully that'll work. The old turn it off, turn it back on trick has never failed, right? Never failed. All right. I think we're finally settling in here. Let's get this draft board all nice and snug. We're good. We're good. Let's settle in. Let's settle in. Still off-season rustiness. I know it's May 11th. Come June, come July, I can't be having these kind of tech difficulties. Not when the normies hit. When the normies are here, they will demand quality production. A laptop cam show. I do have the backup webcam, but it looks so bad. Here, I'll show you the backup webcam. This is if it ever, no, not that one. See, this is, you guys really get to see how the sausage gets made. Here's the backup. If we ever really need it, we can go to this. We do have a backup, but I would much prefer to not have to do that. Let's see. Did I just time out? I just timed out on Breece Hall because I was fiddling with my camera, but I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad. Breece Hall just got paid, right? You always draft the guy who just got paid. Let's see if I would have done something different had I not been fiddling with my webcams. Jeez, what a rough start. Olave, Devontae Smith. I still like Devontae Smith there. I'm good with Breece Hall there. I'm good. I'm at peace with it. But man, 3 picks. One of them I didn't make myself. Camera going in and out. Spilled a little bit of coffee on myself. Shake it off, Peter. Shake it off. Got to have a short-term memory in this business. You can't let one early setback derail the entire show. Is this a new background for the show? Did that kid say it looked cartoony? Get it to Pete. It's funny you say that. We refreshed the background for Best Ball Breakfast a few weeks ago. However, I changed the logo for the In a Vacuum podcast art after McLean came on Best Ball Bash. He told me he was one of the Spotify bros. He said, I'm an audio listener a lot of the time, but you have this old avatar. Some of you guys remember it. I'll pull it up here because I'll show you the change because we actually updated it yesterday. It was one of those things I had just basically completely forgotten about, that I had this old thing. Someone made this for me way back when I started this podcast feed, the In a Vacuum podcast feed. That's where you can get all of the audio for basically any live streams on my channel, Best Ball Breakfast, the DFS shows in season, Off and On the Clock, all of that stuff. I had just let this ride. Someone made this for me. I hadn't thought about it until McLean came on and he said, hey, really like the show, but you got to update your avatar. And I was like, you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. Let me make this pick and then I will unveil the new In a Vacuum podcast art. We started Chase Brown, JSN, and Breece Hall. We're about to pick here at 4-8. Let's see. We can do Garrett Wilson. I mean, if Breece Hall is going to work out, Geno's probably working out. If Geno's working out, Garrett Wilson is working out. Let's grab Garrett Wilson here at pick 44. Dare I give a little Garrett Wilson, 6 picks past ADP. So yes, this was the old one. I wasn't going to spend a shit ton of time revamping this. I just wanted something that popped when you're scrolling in your podcast app of choice. So the new In a Vacuum podcast art there. Nothing too fancy, but I do like the colors. Had to retain these same colors. I like that pink and baby blue. So there you go. If you refresh your podcast apps, you will now see this in here. And once again, thank you to McLean for the feedback on the bash last week so we could usher in a new era of album art for the audio listeners who I will always, always service. All right, we are back on the clock again here. Davante Adams staring at me here at pick 53. Seems like a good pick. Solver top suggestion. I think these are the leg up ranks. I haven't updated, but they're still in here as well. They have Davante Adams at the top. So we'll start Chase Brown and Breece Hall. We have JSN, Garrett Wilson, and Davante Adams at the start of this draft. Oh, let's see here. So Brandon just says new logo for today's show. Okay, here we go. Let's see this. I do like this. He's got the Pete's Coffee. This is what we need. I need that Pete's Coffee endorsement. I think I need to reply. I just realized I need to reply to the people who volunteered to send me coffee samples. If I didn't reply to you last week, I'm making a note to do so now. But yes, Pete's Coffee, I'm here. I'm ready to be a vehicle for your product. The synergy between your name, my name, and coffee, it's unmatched. Let's make it happen. Dirt Bike Luke trying to trick me into feeding the ducks this early. It would calm me down a little bit. You're probably right, but we're going to hold strong for now. Brady Sanders, is the overlay limited to a certain browser and only on UD? I don't have that option when I draft on Chrome. It's definitely available on Chrome. If you go to the solver and then you go to Best Ball and it's available on DraftKings and Underdog. It is available, I believe it's on, is it also on Mozilla or is it just on Chrome? It might just be Chrome, but it is available for both DraftKings and Underdog there as well. Welcome, Mostertag, new YouTube member. We're back on the clock here in the 6th round. DK Metcalf, Alec Pierce, Drake May. Let's do Drake May. I was going to do Jalen Hurts, but you know what? My last pre-scheduled draft, let's get a little AFC East correlation in there. We have 2 Jets. Let's get Drake May, see if we can bank, week 16, week 17 matchup between the Patriots and the Jets there. Best ball chosen. Do I actually want a coffee contact? If you know someone who is a decision maker as far as influencer deals for coffee, then sure I will. We got Ben here. Schedule announcements coming soon. So you think you can tout elimination day in my last final before the end of the semester? Ready for a great Monday. Congratulations, Ben. Yeah, just Chrome there. Joey says the schedule drop is always the fire that lights my best ball drafting season, not counting big board. Of course, you think others are similar and volume goes up after Thursday. I'm sure you'll see a little bit of a spike, but I don't think anything too drastic. Nothing too drastic there. I continue to like Tony Pollard in this range. DK Metcalf here is the top rank, but I don't mind Pollard here as my top 3. I had written about the Steelers wide receivers in the Fantasy Life newsletter the other day, and I kind of came away from that exercise, not necessarily thinking DK Metcalf was a bad pick, at this ADP, but more liking the prices on Michael Pittman Jr. and Jeremy Bernard as kind of the preferred way to play that offense. I don't think it doesn't have to be an overriding heuristic to always take, the cheapest options on bad offenses, but it does give you a little bit more room for failure when you play it through the cheaper options. Now, I say that as someone who just took Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson with premium picks in this draft. So let's not, go overboard with Jets, Browns, Steelers, etc. But I still like getting that third running back here based on how these drafts have been shaken out. So we got Drake May at quarterback, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard at running back, JSN, Garrett Wilson, and Devontae Adams at wide receiver. Am I worried about the Vrabel situation or blown over by the start of the season? I think the Vrabel situation will forever be a source of jokes as it pertains to football, and more specifically fantasy football. It will be an absolute non-story with zero impact on what we do or what the Patriots do. That's my take. Nez says he randomly got suggested an old Best Ball Breakfast video last night. Hard to believe the show is 5 years running. I know, man. Let me make this pick here too, because I had a recent epiphany, because I have my folders in my external hard drive where I save thumbnails, I save clips. And when I pull up the Best Ball Breakfast one to see the dates in that folder going back as far as they do always blows my mind. All right. Michael Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Rico Dowdle. Let's see. We can do Michael Wilson here. I know we're all scared now about Carson back and all that stuff. But Michael Wilson at pick 92 still seems fine. But yeah, my thumbnail folder here, while we're doing a trip down memory lane. So yeah, my folder goes back to 2021. I'll show you. Oh my goodness. I'll show you some of these thumbnails, these first ones. This was the first one I did May 10th, 2021. So this was almost exactly 5 years ago. This is my first thumbnail. Me making my first thumbnails here. Look at how bad these were. They're honestly still better than some people's out there right now. The puppy 2. We had the puppy 2 there. And let's see, one of these. This was the stream. I believe this is the stream where Eric and I drafted the team that finished top 10. This was August 24th, 2021. Yeah, the good old days. All right, back on the clock here. Laporta, Pittman Jr. is here. We can do Laporta. Get a tight end at this price. I mean, Laporta at 101 seems like a nice price. No stacking yet with Drake May, but we do have our quarterback. We have our 3 running backs, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard. Our 4 wide receivers, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Michael Wilson, and our tight end, Sam Laporta. 5 years of best ball drafting. Chris has been holding out to get in the Best Ball Mania streets, but he will be getting in there Friday. I will say this, and I've been saying it on shows, people asking me, do I barbell draft? When do I draft? If you had waited for the schedule to come out, I truly don't think you missed anything in the BBM streets. I really don't think there are any juggernaut super teams looming that you have to be worried about. True Dawn likes the Jeremy plus Rodgers backstack. Yeah. I think that's certainly in play. Fading breakfast for best ball. Was that the name of my, that was probably right when I started regularly intermittent fasting too. So I was probably really into that show concept. Yeah, Liam used to be my chess coach and my thumbnail guy. Here, I'll show you. Let's see if I can find. Let me see if I can find the chess coach live streams. All right, we are back on the clock here. Stafford. I don't have anything with You know what? I'm surprised. Solver really does not like Dobbs. I get it. AJ Brown is coming, but I think I did the same thing with Sam, where you kind of just like capitulate, and it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to have one stacking partner, decent stacking partner with May. Took Dobbs at 116 there. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, you want a better price, but if you want to have some stacks and you know that other drafters are also going to be anchored to ADP and that he's not going to make it back to you at pick 125, then you just bite the bullet there. I mean, the other options you're deciding between are Casey Concepcion, Wan'Dale Robinson. I do like KC a bit, but I don't know. We pull the trigger on Dobbs there as our wide receiver 5. Back around the horn here. I got to keep an eye on quarterback. I might have to make an IKB decision here. Man. I don't like this range. I was thinking of just taking naked Malik Willis, but I'm just going to bite the bullet and also take Darnold ahead of ADP. I'm not having a strong draft. PPR Tyler has a 9th grade English when So You Think You Can Tout drops today. Might just put it on the big screen and get their live reactions on who they love, hate. I would love that. If you do, Tyler, record some of that. I want to see it on the screen. I want to see some of the kids in the foreground, not their identities. You get what I'm saying. But I do want to see the panorama of you showing your kids So You Think You Can Tout. They'll be very proud of you. They will be very proud of you. If you guys missed it on After Dark, Tyler is one of, I'm not going to say the number, but one of a small cohort of locks. There are going to be locks announced and contenders. Everybody else is eliminated. Actually, I think I already said the number of locks in the show title. 7 locks. Tyler is one of 7 locks there. So congratulations to PPR Tyler. The other locks will be revealed today at 2 Eastern. Let me get my bearings in this draft so we can try to stick the landing. Drake May and Sam Darnold at quarterback, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard at running back, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Michael Wilson, Romeo Dobbs at wide receiver, Laporta at tight end. For people on Gadsden watch, he went at 124 here. He went at pick 124. His ADP is 119, so he only slipped 5 spots post Njoku news. We'll be talking to Levitan, Sam, and Kerrane about how they have adjusted their ranks with the news that Njoku is in the fold. It could be messy. It could feel a lot like an Andrews likely kind of situation. But if there's one coach, if there's one coordinator you feel good about being able to maximize his players' talents, you got to think it's Mike McDaniel. I'm going to just go ahead and take Cam Ward here. Cam Ward is right at ADP. I have Tony Pollard. I don't know how I feel about just Drake May and Darnold as a 2 quarterback build. I think it's fine. But there was nothing else I loved here. Maybe Hunter Henry makes it back to me to stack. I could have taken him over Ward and then seen if like Bryce Young or Daniel Jones. But I think getting that 3rd quarterback that had some correlation with what we were doing was a little bit more important than the tight end too. And based on how this run just happened, I feel good about that. CJ Stroud immediately comes off the board, then Daniel Jones. Yeah, late round Miami stacks are there for sure. The whole point, the thing for me though, it's like the selling point of Malik Willis has nothing to do with the stacking. I do think it still makes sense to tack on one of those guys, but I think Malik Willis as a one-off is, more than viable. Chris, best clicks on the Chargers. Ladd, maybe Trey Harris. I mean, I still find Ladd's price to be to be way too rich. We look at the Chargers here. QJ at 94, Trey Harris at 180. I do think Trey Harris is probably the best cost-adjusted pick, the one least likely to get you into trouble. All right, we can get Hunter Henry now. Solver had him as the top suggestion before. Kenyon Sadiq also makes sense. We have this big Jets bet. I guess one mistake I made here was I probably should have flipped Darnold or Ward to a skill position player and then kept Geno in my back pocket. I already had Garrett Wilson. I already had Breece Hall. We could have built something out with Geno and Sadiq in a Jets onslaught. I know everybody's favorite thing to do in a draft, onslaught the goddamn Jets, but I might just be a little, as a drafter right now, who is only drafted on stream, I think I'm a little too QB panicked. I start to get spooked and not playing the 2v2s as well as I could have there. I think this team is going to look fine, but I probably didn't ring it for the max amount of value as I could if I was a little bit more patient with some of those quarterbacks. Waller likes the lad price. To me, it feels very Igbuka-esque. You know, we've talked about it before, but his inability to earn a large target share last year down the stretch when he had guys like Gadsden, like Trey Harris, he was closer to them in target share down the stretch than he was to QJ in Keenan. And of course, Keenan's out of the picture. You get an offensive upgrade, I think, with McDaniel there for sure. But I think there's a lot of risk with it. And my gut is that the Chargers pass catchers should all be closer together in ADP, and that Ladd should come down, and maybe the others like Trey Harris, QJ, maybe they inch up a bit. But man, what's the whole thing when we have these spread out offenses where no one's going to be that 25% market share guy? I'd rather play it through the cheaper guys. I'm not going to have a full fade on Ladd this year, but of fourth round guys, you know, I'm happily taking Garrett Wilson over him. I think JMO gives you a lot of the same appeal as far as single week spikes. All right, what do we want to do here? Man, so we already got to that absolute gross range here for running back. We'll take Pacheco. This is one where Solver and ETR have a pretty big discrepancy relative to ETR. Relative to legendary upside. Pacheco goes at 153 regularly. I get him at 164. I think these leg up ranks have him at 205. So polarizing guy, but at least you feel good about where he is on the depth chart. And I have Laporta as well, so another Detroit Lion. Gab wants another coffee pour. You're in luck, brother, because I need one. Yeah, this is another thing on the Jet stuff. The Klubnik, you know, basically a similar situation to the Jacoby Brissett and Carson Beck. I mean, I think it'll be later. I think Geno Smith has a wider moat for starts than Jacoby Brissett, but yes, very much at risk of not getting those quarterbacks in the money weeks. All right, we're about to pick at 173. We have a 3-4-5-2 here. Stribling always in play. We have Ridley potentially with Cam Ward. Let's see. Let's do Stribling first. We don't have any rookies. This team is a little old. Feeling a little old. Let me get a rookie in the mix here. Stribling at pick 173 here at 15.5. Get our token rookie that we all know you need to win Best Ball Mania. Greg, what up? GM, indeed. Ooh, Greg got a lavender latte, and I'm ready to draft Tank Bigsby. We made, yesterday for Mother's Day, we were making, did some pistachio ice lattes. I don't know. I've seen the lavender lattes on the menus. I have not tried one of them myself. Greg says, Pete, call me crazy, but I'm starting to think that these running backs post 125 are starting to look okay. Give me the short list. Who are the short list? I mean, I have some that I like. Looking at the board post 125, I mean, Brooks goes post 125, like him, Rashad White. Those guys are fine. I like Spears. I like Brian Robinson a lot, but I don't know, man. That's about my short list of guys that I'm willing to, I don't even want to say pound the table. It's like gently knock the table for, but I am curious your short list. This is a fun call. Dazadant says, I have a deep feeling in my soul that the Lions will trade for James Conner. He would be a much more exciting RB2 behind Gibbs than Pacheco, that's for sure. All right, let me make this pick at 16-8. So we lost Ridley. He goes to crutches. We still need wide receivers, running backs. I don't mind the Emmanuel Wilson thing on Darnold teams. Feel pretty good that he's going to be the RB2 there alongside Price. Who do you guys think? Do you think Holani? I mean, based on ADP, the market thinks Wilson over Holani for sure. But my gut says that if the team is not really trusting Price at the start of the season, that Emmanuel Wilson is going to be kind of their de facto guy. I think that could really serve a purpose on squads like this where you're trying to get some early season production as well. And then he still has the contingent upside if something happens, if Sharps is slow to return, if Price flops, if Price gets hurt. Wilson seems kind of like the steady asset in that backfield. Let's get some upside at the tight end room. We have Laporta, we have Henry. I don't mind taking shots on Stowers as part of these rooms. Our first tight end pick was at 101, Henry at 149. I think if you were really behind at another position in this build, you could justify just Laporta and Henry, but Stowers feels like a fun tack on there. Let's see. Go Easy Card says, be honest, Pete. If there were one female tout submission, would they have made the contender list no matter what? I will be completely honest and say this. Twofold. One, no. I mean, if someone sends a bad submission, if someone's just sitting there with no energy, like they're not making it because they're a girl, but would they have been graded on a really nice curve? And don't fucking twist that how I just said it. You know what I mean? In the academic sense, graded on a curve. God damn it. What a rough show. They would have had a very good chance to get in the competition. Go Easy Cards. They would have had a very good chance, but you still have to have some baseline talent, charisma, energy, on camera chops. What a brutal, brutal slip up. Pete, do you think there's any data to show that simply drafting players from winning NFL teams is better than losing teams? Just think of it from your Jets bet. No, I mean, hang on one sec. The reason that it's not some skeleton key hack is because the market is already pricing that in. Projections already price that in. Let's go. What do we want? Sure. You want a fucking Mac Hollins? What am I doing here? Mac Hollins, my final pick. Sure. We'll triple stack Drake May. Maybe Booty gets shipped out of town and Mac is playing in 3 wide receiver sets with Dobbs and AJ Brown. But yeah, back to this thing from Joey about just drafting teams from winning teams. Like, a lot of that's baked into good projections. Like, if you have good projections are working from a top-down thing. They're saying, this is the pace of this team. This is their expected touchdowns. These are their team totals, which inform their expected amount of touchdowns. All of that is funneled into the projections. So if you trust your projections, the players are already ranked with the strength of the team in mind. Now, do you want to use that as IKB, as tiebreakers? I think that's completely fine. But if you're just willy-nilly, taking the wide receiver 3 on I don't know, what would be a good example of a Super Bowl team? I mean, like the Bills are a good example, right? The Bills are a good team. They're always in the playoffs. They're always scoring points. Are you going to take the wide receiver 3 on the Bills over the Jets wide receiver 1? Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic, but I think you understand how ultimately it comes down to the projection, what that player can do. I think we're probably not as good at identifying spikes between bad teams and good teams as we think we are. I think we probably think it's a lot easier to identify spikes on good teams. But again, the projection is already going to reflect that. I knew. Now I'm catching up on the chat on my curve slip. Tubbs says, do you think you would have won a tout competition in the very beginning of your career? I don't know how you got your start. Absolutely not. I've written about this before. And I do highly recommend, guys. I put out a free newsletter every single week. It's called the P.O. Box. I generally drop it on Friday mornings. I'll drop the link here. I gave a bunch of advice for people, but I linked to an article I wrote about a year ago called 10 Lessons for Making 10 Years of Content. And I wrote about this story that I'm about to remind you, or not remind you, but answer your question with. I applied for a job at DraftKings in 2016. In 2016, it was an on-camera position. They had me come in. They had me deliver some takes, doing some news, some fantasy takes. I had never done on-camera stuff with a teleprompter. They were having me, do my audition or whatever with a teleprompter. I had done a lot of improv on stage. So I was comfortable in front of people and comfortable riffing, but I had never been in this environment and I bombed. I was not ready for the job. I did not get the job. I did not deserve the job. And then I went home and said, if I want a job doing this, I need to start 1, making content myself, and 2, getting reps. I have to get reps. I have to get more comfortable on camera. So to answer your question, would I have won a tout competition 10 years ago when I first started out? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. However, I would say that I would have maybe had the creativity and the energy to catch someone's attention. I think I could have done that, but did I have the fully formed chops to go all the way in, a 3-month or whatever sprint? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, let me recap this team here. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's a 3-5-7-3. I think it's fine. This is already my 19th Best Ball Mania draft. Today is 5/11, and this was a 3-5-7-3, kind of all over the board. The squad is Drake May, Sam Darnold, and Cam Ward at quarterback. We have 5 running backs: Chase Brown, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard, Pacheco, and Emmanuel Wilson. 7 wide receivers: JSN, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Michael Wilson, Romeo Doubs, Dejon Stribling, and Mac Hollins. Looks like why did Devontae Adams and Stribling have week 3 buys in the app? Tight end: Sam Laporta, Hunter Henry, and Eli Stowers. So we get some Drake May stacks. We get some Darnold stacking and some Cam Ward there as well. So did fine on the stacking front. I'm trying, some of the things I think I kind of panicked on the Darnold and Ward selections, but if I'm being generous, though, that range of the draft is so tricky. It's not like there were ever any players I'm like, oh man, I really would rather have this player. If there was one, it was Hunter Henry, who I got by pushing it either. So I don't know. I guess the opportunity cost for quarterbacks in that pick 125, 140 range isn't that big of a deal, that I don't know if that is a death sentence for kind of reaching ahead on those guys, Darnold specifically. BB Chosen, we drafted one of the worst teams I've drafted all year, but it wasn't the worst. I'll tell you the worst. So this is going to be one of my biggest regrets. It is going to haunt me. On Thursday, was it Thursday? I recorded a show with Fantasy Life with Kendall Valenzuela and Cooter Doodle, and we were drafting a team, and it was going to be on camera, and they were hopping in and drafting a team together, and I was going to be entering the draft. That happened However, right before we jumped in, I was the first one to go in, and it snap filled. I thought I did the math correctly. It snap filled. They did not get in that draft. So I had to do 2 drafts at once. One of these was not on camera, which tilts me to no end. Not because I think it's going to be the team that wins and it won't be on camera, but just because I committed to 150 stream drafts. And now I have an asterisk. In this team, I'm trying to do the show. I'm trying to entertain. I'm trying to draft a good team for the one on the show, which I thought I did decently. But the one off camera was a disaster, an absolute disaster. Dak Prescott and Geno was my quarterback room. Unbelievable. The running backs are fine. CMC, Achane, Breece Hall, Price, Warren, Algier. Way too many running backs, though. Wide receivers, Ladd, McLaurin, Josh Downs, Romeo Doubs, Jauan Jennings, Calvin Ridley, Ted Hurst, Kelsey, Kincaid, Njoku. I mean, the wide receiver room sucks. The quarterback room sucks. And this is a blight on my record. This is embarrassing. But I thought I would confess to the situation now. Elements of it are partly on camera. You can watch me tilt as I try to make both of these picks at the same time. But I'm pissed. One of my 150 bullets was wasted semi off screen while really distracted. It's unfortunate. I will say, though, make sure you guys are subscribed to what is a new Fantasy Life channel. It's the Fantasy Life Show. I'm going to be doing regular shows with Kendall and Amanda. It's just once a week right now on Fridays, but as the summer progresses, I'll be joining them more and more for some shows over there. So subscribe, and you can watch me hopefully not draft truly horrendous teams like I just did here. That's my thing. BK says you technically drafted on video. That's the one thing that allows me to sleep at night. I guess it would be worse if it was a really good team and then it wasn't on camera. Maybe it's just a blessing that the worst team I drafted is semi off camera. All right, you guys are saying the asterisk removed. You were on stream. All right, I'll take it, guys. Trust me, I need it. Ragnar says, so you're saying that one will definitely make the finals and you'll have to remind everyone how it happened while you sweat. I think I told this story to BB Chosen on the Bash, but it was last year. I think I labeled one of my teams with a vomit emoji, and that team advanced out of the regular season to the Week 15 pod. Did you guys see the tweet from Hope the other day about the number of users who use ranks? I know I'm a little late to this. Some people have talked about this, but I thought it was really interesting. If you guys missed it, someone asked her where is this post? Here you go. Actually, let me get it because she had a couple interesting posts up here. All right, so here was some interesting data. Jewish McCaffrey kind of asked what percentage of BBM entries are drafted using rankings and draft tools? What percent of BBM entries are drafted using just rankings? What percent of BBM entries are drafted using no rankings and no draft tools? So Hope shared some of their internal data on this. She said, based on 2025 BBM 6 data, 95.27% of entries were made with no ranking set. 4.73% of entries were made with ranking set. She doesn't have data on the tools, but feel very comfortable saying it's less than 4.73%. What's really interesting to me about this is there are some states, I know Tennessee will automatically make you adjust one rank before you can even draft, and that will count as using rankings. So this number could potentially be even lower. I guess you could counter and say that some of the people using tools are not uploading rankings. Like if you use the solver and you have an ETR subscription, you don't necessarily have to upload rankings. You can get the rankings through the solver. If you use Leg Up, you're essentially getting their rankings, their SimBrain through that tool. So I do think that could offset some of it. But even if we are generous and say, 5, 6, 7%, it's still a pretty small number, all things considering. The number of dirty dogs out here raw dogging is truly incredible. Truly incredible. Then PD asked her, do you know the mobile versus desktop? 75.6.8% on mobile. Oh, no. And then she had to throw this in. 64.25% on iOS. Only 11.43% for us Android community. We got to up that representation, Android fam. And then 24.32% on the web. So, you know, if you do some math, if only 5%, it would be like the number of people on web. I wonder how many of them. It has to be a higher percentage on web with ranks than on mobile, I would guess. But maybe the proportions hold true. And then Eagles asked her, what are the slow versus fast numbers for BBM 6? BBM 6, top 100 finishers, regular season, 90 fast drafts, 10 slow. And then as far as who made it to week 17, 87 of them were fast drafts, 13 were slow. But then she qualified it and said 86% of BBM drafts last year were fast, 14% were slow. So that is a sample size issue there. So the data is right in line with the distribution. So you don't want to read too much into those numbers. It is just reflective of the total amount of fast drafts versus slow drafts. And there's way, way more fast drafts. Missouri's the same thing where it forces you to adjust ranks. For sure. Crutches says, I think way more people would upload ranks versus paying $500 a year. For sure. And that is the thing. Like when you see how many people draft on mobile, 75.68%, that immediately means you're not using a tool because tools are not available on mobile. But you can upload ranks and draft off of mobile. So that checks out. Ohio also forces a rank. There you go. Nez says, sometimes it's nice to see raw dog ADP while knowing who your targets are to make informed decisions. For sure. That's my preferred way. I mean, the tools actually make that nice where you can have the input from the tools while also just drafting off of ADP, which is going to be the best proxy for what your opponents are going to do. Richard's team Android. Love to hear it, Richard. Love to hear it. Lance says, some would say the game is still beatable. Some might say that. Technically, ADP is a rank, not technically in the way Hope is defining it. iPhone user that only drafts on desktop, find a new slant. That would be such a funny number to see. Like, that's how you find the true hardos. Anyone who's done like more than 95% of their drafts on desktop, or I guess you find me, because so far I have done 100% of my drafts on desktop this year. That will eventually change. See, Justin says he raw dogged my way to shipping the puppy on mobile. Had to be the Samsung Edge. What's funny is I don't know if you mean Edge in the best ball sense or if you mean the name of the product is Samsung Edge. There's another potential synergy right there. Get the edge you need with the Samsung Edge. It's the only way I draft on underdog. Ben did 1,500 drafts last year on mobile without ranks. I'm the phone shitter, bro. I mean, you work at a bar, right? You got the phone propped up there. You're making cocktails, pouring draft beers, making a pick, a swipe in between. Forcing a rank is a nothing burger in Missouri. Only need to set 2 players. No, it's a nothing burger as it pertains to, whatever, but it's not a nothing burger in that Hope's data is going to show that as setting ranks. Like my guess is she's not splicing out the data of you uploaded a CSV from ETR versus you adjusted the ranks. My guess is their data is capturing all of it under the same umbrella. Ben says, absolutely. 3 Coors Lights and reaching on Luther Burden. There you go. Beautiful. If you're just tuning in, I just wrapped up my first solo draft. Adam Levitan's going to be joining here in a few minutes. We'll have Sam Sherman coming by a little bit after noon Eastern. Then we'll have Pat Kerrane at 1 Eastern. And then over on the So You Think You Can Tout YouTube channel, a live premiere today. Here it is. The title of the video right now, 108 applicants eliminated. These 27 survived. Make sure I'm going to drop this this channel again in the chat. Make sure you guys subscribe to this. Let's get this channel to can we get this channel to 1,000 subs right now? Could we just do that right now? That would be awesome. I know we asked for likes. We asked for subs. We do all of that song and dance. Could we just get So You Think You Can Tout YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers by the time this premieres live? Could we do that? I would be so grateful if we could do that. We're at 937 right now. 937 right now. Yosh says the Monday lineup of shows is giving me life. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Yeah, early week is strong. You get Best Ball Breakfast. You get Pat's been doing his show with the Coach Speak Index after on Mondays. On Tuesdays, you get Off and On the Clock with myself, John, and Nez. You get Tuesday evenings. You get ADP chasing. Starting the week off right. I think tomorrow on Off and On the Clock, I think the plan is we might do the Dachshund, the puppy, get in the regular best ball streets. Last week we did the Superflex contest. That was a lot of fun. And next week we will have the schedule. So we could maybe get in the eliminator streets. We could get in the weekly winner streets. That'll be Off and On the Clock tomorrow at noon Eastern. I have a busy day tomorrow. I'm going to record a pod with the ETR guys, a best ball show with Herzig and Levitan. We're going to have Off and On the Clock. And then I'm also recording with Amanda and Cooter Doodle and Kendall for the Fantasy Life show. So lots of shows coming down the pipeline. And if you ever feel overwhelmed trying to keep up on all the content, I do recommend my newsletter. Comes out Friday. I round up all the stuff that's happened from the week, give links to it. Make sure you guys don't miss anything. I'll drop that in there as well. Free to subscribe. Easy peasy. How's our So You Think You Can Tout channel push doing? Up to 951. Good. So we just Snap added 15 subs. Pretty good. Pretty good. Got to give a shout out to the editing team as well. Our team at So You Think You Can Tout, Chris, Zach, Lou on the video editing stuff, absolutely crushing it. Literally could not pull this show together without the three of them hard at work. The production, everything about it is top-notch quality work, and they are busting their ass to get you guys high-quality content. So hat tip to the production team. Hat tip to our producer on this show as well, Mark, who helps me stay on track, make sure I don't miss any witty comments or that I forget to review a team, which I've been known to do every now and again. Can I give Levitan a draft challenge today, Pete? He'll love it. I don't think he will. I don't think Levitan is someone who's going to enjoy a draft challenge. Levitan doesn't fuck around, man. He is grinding his dick to a nub 365 days a year. He cannot sacrifice any potential EV for a goddamn bit. Would I define the last 15 minutes as vamping? Absolutely. Or you could say shameless plugs. Probably a mixture of both. 50% plugs, 50% vamping. Tout production can tout. If there was a contest, do you think you can produce? These guys would be crushing it. This would honestly, so Carv Mummin says, can we get an early So You Think You Can Tout Survivor? We're going to announce 27 today. There's going to be the next challenge that's going to cut it down further. But I will say, man, I would love the idea of a Calcutta or a Survivor contest around So You Think You Can Tout. I got to talk to Kitchen, but that would be a ton of fun. That would be, or maybe I should talk to Splash too and see if they could whip up a Survivor. I'm going to make a note of that because I think we need it. We need it. All right, let's bring him on. The man, the myth, the Levitan, joining me now on Best Ball Breakfast. Welcome to the show, dude.
How are you? What are you doing with the circles in my face?
I'm trying to produce. There we go.
I'm good, man. What's going on? How many people are left in the tout contest?
So as of this afternoon, we're announcing the massive cut down. So we're going from 135 to 27. So 108 are getting eliminated today. And then there'll be a subsequent challenge to get us down even further to the really core cast.
Is this just like a intricate ploy to hire? Like when we hire, we put out a tweet and we read resumes and we do interviews. It's this whole big process. I actually think this might be sharper. Maybe we should just do this, a full-blown show every time we need to hire someone.
Exactly. Yeah, make them build in public. Make them submit in public. I mean, people will tell you whatever on a resume, right? They'll tell you whatever in an interview. You got to see if they can actually do it in front of people, Adam.
They have those like coding contests. Like most of our hires these days are like coders and data sci bros. Maybe that would be a cool show. Like you get these like, like NASA level coders and developers, and then you have them do like the Excel contest. Like we did that spoof video of Leone in the Excel contest.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because Leone actually messaged me when I started doing this, and he was like, he was thinking about himself and being like, is there a mechanism like with the show, would someone like me ever have a chance at making it in the show just because I'm, a little more dry on camera at the start or whatever. And he said it's something for the boring guys who make it really leaning into authenticity, relatability, rapport. Wow, Leone, really giving yourself a lot of qualifiers there. When the natural charisma isn't as strong. But wouldn't you say Leone has become such a better broadcaster over the years just because he's done so many shows, and he might have started out as a dry, sexless spreadsheet virgin, but now he's one of the more entertaining people on camera because he's comfortable on camera.
I mean, I think like anything in life, you can get better. I think there's some people that are just never going to get it on camera for whatever reason. But yeah, of course, like anything in life, you're going to get better. I also think just like bringing credibility when you come to the camera matters. Like, I don't know exactly how you guys are doing it, but if someone tweeted really sharp stuff, they had a really sharp Substack, they already were saying really sharp stuff, I am way more willing to give them grace on not being as good on camera. You know what I mean? So like, I want to talk to people and have people on the show that are super knowledgeable more than, super entertaining. I understand that's like two different lanes, but yeah, if you follow what I'm saying, like if you come already with credentials as knowing what you're talking about, it's easier to overcome some stuff on camera.
Yeah, and I think that by necessity, this show, it's a video show. It's a YouTube TV reality show. So everything has to be steeped in video. But I will say, we have some strong analytical, both locks and contenders who are in the show mix. But they did have to have a baseline level of comfort on camera, because otherwise you then just say, go crush that Substack. Crush the tweet threads, like stay in your sandbox and crush that. You don't have to be dynamite on camera to be successful in this industry.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's like, it's hard to find people that are really good at both. It's like you said, it's way harder than it seems. Like find really sharp people that are beating the games and like really thoughtful and also be good on camera. Like it's harder than it seems. I guess a lot of people are realizing that.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, because I've seen some comments from people where it's like, oh, you're just optimizing for personalities and entertainment right now. But I think it's a lot easier for someone who's entertaining and good on camera to get good at fantasy football. I mean, I'm the poster boy for that. I sucked at fantasy football in DFS when I started. I'm not the best now, but I've learned a lot and have gotten a lot more competent along the way. The inverse is a lot harder. You're a gigabrain, sharp or whatever. But if you don't put in the reps, you don't put in the work, like that trajectory of getting good on camera will take far longer than getting good at fantasy football.
100%. Yeah. And like, That's the thing. Like it's so unique. Like, and I think about like Leonia and Dink too. Like it's just like there's nobody that if I could like give my money to someone to play DFS or bet something with it, be like Dink or Leonie. But then they're also really good on camera. Like and they have and like the show is so good. So yeah, it's hard to find. I'll be curious who wins there, and maybe maybe we can run something like this in the future for a coder contest or something like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys have people apply for some of those data science jobs, I assume you guys are giving them some prompts or some stuff to show, not tell, that they're capable.
Yeah, I think that's like the new trend in hiring for sure. And we've done it too, is like instead of looking at their resume, which we look at their resume like briefly, but more it's like, here's a problem, here's a data set. We need to know this. How would you get there? And that's like their application. That's like step one in their application. So yeah, I think that's a great way to hire, but yeah.
Yeah. And what, and then who is it? Do you get in the weeds reviewing their code, or you're like Leone, or who? I guess you now have data science people there. I would just love you because you care, right? You're going to have to work with these people, but then you have to trust someone else's opinion that they actually do know their data stuff.
Yeah, it's gone so far over my head on a lot of the sim stuff and everything. It's gone so far over my head that I'm really not of much help at this point.
Are you guys doing your annual ETR retreat this year?
Yes, we will be doing that in June.
Nice.
Yes, so be a lot of virgins together in one place for a couple days. Yeah.
Beautiful. See, that's the other thing too. I mean, maybe that's part of the application process. You got to see if you can go hang with Thorman and Silva, when they're throwing back drinks as well. You got to be multifaceted.
It really does take a lot.
All right. We hopped in a draft. We got the 111. Want to get your takes on the news this morning. Njoku signing with the Chargers. What were your snap reactions to that?
Well, in a league that's gone so tight end heavy and tight end centric, and everybody wants tight ends, I was surprised no one went after Njoku. Even tight end needy teams like the Ravens, they didn't even seem to sniff around Njoku. And so to get only 1 year up to $8 million, that's not a very big contract in today's NFL. I'm curious to see what the actual guaranteed money is on Njoku. But my first thought is like, how much does this guy have left? Maybe the NFL doesn't think he has that much left in the tank. Obviously, we knew Mike McDaniel was going to go extreme heavy formation. He did it in Miami. Last year, the Chargers were second, only behind the Bucs in passing out of 3 wide receiver sets. They'll probably be close to the bottom this year. It's just getting crowded, man. I talked about Ladd McConkey on Market Monday. That'll be up soon. We can make this pick, and then I can talk more about it.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in by ADP. Cook, Genty, Achane, Barkley, Walker. Solver suggests Barkley, Cook, Achane. Who do you like?
Barkley. I would go James Cook. Otherwise, you're going to end up with like no James Cook.
Yeah, again, you don't have to worry about smoothing out my exposures. That'll be my job here. But you're gun to head here, and now you can get them. You want both Barkley and Cook?
Oh, why don't we just boom it up? Why not? Let's do it.
Nice. So it sounds like clearly though your favorite of that cohort is Barkley.
I mean, I think it's really close. I think like so much of what happened to Barkley this past year was like a decline in offensive line play and just randomness with long runs. Like he hit so many of those 50+ yard runs. It's still very much in him, I think. So I don't know. I think it's super close with all these guys. I'm surprised that Kenneth Walker has gotten all the way up to 2.1 so fast, but I guess I probably shouldn't be.
So going back to the Njoku stuff,
I
mean, obviously the Gadsden thing is the most relevant as far as its impact. How much do we punish Gadsden now? Yeah.
Are we sure that Mike McDaniel even loves Gadsden? Like, since Mike McDaniel's arrived, he signed Charlie Collard to a really big deal. He brings in Njoku, who brings in Ingold, who in theory could take tight end off the field a little bit as well. So yeah, I like Oronde Gadsden, but I think there's no doubt this hurts him. I mean, there's going to be like specialized stuff, like passing situations, red zone situations. I could see Njoku and and Gadsden both being out there. But yeah, I mean, we were behind ADP on Gadsden this whole time, and obviously now we're way behind on Gadsden. Rankings are updated for anyone who wants to check them out. But yeah, we got pretty low on Gadsden. I think into the 140s. I think 148 or something like that.
I
roughly.
just updated with your rankings, or maybe this one isn't up. Oh, I got to refresh here. But yeah, I guess because everybody always talks about if you're just a glorified wide receiver, can you succeed? I mean, we were talking about it with Stowers too in Philly alongside that. We've done the likely thing with Andrews. You basically have to hit a 2-leg parlay. You need the team to actually view it that way and use them as a wide receiver. But then you also lose those 11 personnel snaps or whatever when just one tight end's on the field. They're running the play action trickery and they're just not on the field to score touchdowns because they're not playing that position full time. And that can just be a tighter needle to thread.
And the other thing about this is the Chargers have a ton of mouths to feed now. And Mike McDaniel historically plays at one of the slowest paces in the NFL. I know Thorman's been tweeting about that. So it's crowded. It could be slow. Yeah, it's just not ideal, I think, for most Chargers, except Ladd, who I still really like.
All right, we start Cook in Barkley, about to pick at 311. I do have updated ETR ranks in here. By ADP right now, Devontae Smith hanging around, Tedroy McMillan, Kerrane, Javonte, Solver like Smith, Wilson, and Zay. Devontae does go. Anyone stand out here?
Yeah, that hurts pretty bad. Setting up the Barkley, Devontae would have been really nice there. Yeah, I like our T-Mac rank here. We're lower on market than him. We're going to end up with him here because we choked out, but I think it's okay. I don't think like Bryce Young is good enough to have like a true ceiling season for Tedroy McMillan, but
just to confirm, that was by ADP. You guys are a little lower on.
Yeah, we're pretty solidly lower than market on T-Mac right now.
Yep. So we grab T-Mac. We'll see what Allen does here at the turn. He grabs Garrett Wilson and Javonte back on the clock. By ADP, Kerrane, Zay, Igbuka, Ladd, Bucky. By Solver, Zay, Kerrane, Ladd.
Yeah, I'm on underdog as much. Can we get Lamar with our next pick? If so, I would definitely take Flowers.
It's happened. I would say based on my drafts, like 1 out of every 3 times, he might fall back if you have Flowers.
I still think it's worth it. I mean, think about what's going on in Baltimore. I like last year, Lamar was so clearly hurt. I don't want to say like throw out what happened last year, but it was so bad for Lamar trying to play through injury last year. So I like kind of buying on Flowers, Andrews, Lamar right now. I think they're all kind of underpriced, and like they have not done a lot. I know they drafted Jacoby Lane, but I don't have a lot of faith in Dontavez Walker or Rashad Bateman. And if you think Mark Andrews, I don't think Mark Andrews is washed, but if you do, I mean, this sets up really well for Zay Flowers. Bigger concern to me is just Monken is gone, but yeah, I think Lamar goes too late right now. And so I like getting Flowers there for sure. That sucks we didn't get Devonta Smith though.
Yeah, it's so funny because before the draft, before the Mekhi Lemon and Stowers additions, Devontae was rocketing up to the 2-3 turn because everyone's like, I'm just playing it. AJ Brown is gone. Let's just play it straight up, which, whatever. But then all of a sudden they draft Lemon and Stowers and everyone's like, oh, now I can't take Devontae at the 2-3 turn. I mean, is his alpha status in question because they drafted Mekhi Lemon at the end of the first round?
There's just a lot of FUD. I think people are like, Devonta Smith is too skinny to be an alpha, which, maybe okay, but I still think he's like former Heisman Trophy winner, has been really, really, really good in the NFL. So yeah, I like Devontae a lot, and the Stowers, Mekhi Lemon stuff, I don't think that's really going to affect Devonta Smith very much.
All right. Have a few questions from the chat for you. How is Adam feeling about having to grind out Market Monday every week? Do what you love and you never work a day in your life, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, it actually helps me like get my head around like who I want to have stands on, and like because I actually have to think about it and like really come up with arguments for why I'm on or not on a guy. It actually helps me a ton. So I do like doing it.
All right. Lute wants an off-season report on Jerry. How's the good girl doing?
Yeah, she'll be 14 in July. We've been really lucky on health stuff. She's starting to go blind, but besides that, she's really healthy and still got a ton of energy. So yeah, it's crazy. She's good.
Beautiful. Tarek here wants to know who is the best PSM model click in the contest. Any highly graded PSM guys out of the gate here?
Yeah, we're way ahead on DK Metcalf, and a huge input into the DK Metcalf projection is, of course, the penis size model.
Of course, of course. All right, about to pick at 5'11". We got 2 running backs, Cook and Barkley, 2 wide receivers, Tedoroya McMillan and Zay Flowers. Lamar does not come back. Sorry about that. By ADP, Judkins, Price, Tootin, Jaden Daniels, Jadarian Price, Metcalf by the solver. What do you like?
Yeah, I would probably go Jadarian Price here just to continue to soak up some of that ADP value. I can talk more about some of the FUD that came out from the beat writer stuff over the weekend. I like getting elite tight end quarterback. We're going to do a show on this on the ETR channel this week. Given the pricing at quarterback, I am tempted by Jaden Daniels here for sure. Or what do you think about Hurts? Did Hurts go? Like, I don't really like having Hurts with Barkley, but if you just want to bet on Eagles offense going off, that's one way to play it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we've seen here, let's talk about it. Are you good with Hurts here?
I'm okay with it. I hate the correlation between these guys, but yeah, I'm okay with it.
So I was going to say, I don't mind the correlation between them. I'd actually done, last year when I was doing the Underdog DFS Masterclass, and I was looking at it through a DFS perspective and looking at the Barkley Hurts from their first year together. And they were like negatively correlated in a positive way, right? Where it's like, if you take Hurts, you don't take Barkley because he's going to, be capping his 95th percentile outcomes. But I think for best ball, yes, it's not ideal for the regular season, but if you can get them in, and then, our famous best ball bro face, ping pong it, right? You get the Hurts spike, and then all the Barkley teams get wiped out, but then you have the Barkley. I actually think it plays well through the pods.
Yeah. I just questioned I guess. I mean, I took Barkley and Hurts last year in the 3K on DraftKings, but that's so small field. Like it was literally like 50% advance throughout the playoffs. So I thought it was fine for that. In the lotto stuff, I don't like it as much, but I hear you. The ping pong thing can certainly work. And, we have access to Goddard, Lemon, Stowers later as backdoors with Hurts also.
Yeah.
Did you see the Jadarian Price FUD from the beat writers this weekend?
Well, I saw one earlier. I think it was Fowler being like, insider reports said they might not lean on him early season. What was the new one?
This was from Brady Henderson, who covers the Seahawks for ESPN, I believe. And then there was also like the SI Now Seahawks guy was basically just like, they're not going to go full workhorse on Jadarian Price. Like, he's going to be in the Kenneth Walker when Zach Charbonnet was healthy kind of role, was basically what the beat writer was saying. Now, I want to be clear, like, beat writers are giving takes just like we are. And a lot of times I would trust our takes way more than beat writer takes. But I talked about this on Market Monday last week. Like, I don't want to get too crazy on Jadarian Price because we've seen the Seahawks, and I know it's new offensive coordinator, we've seen the Seahawks not use their best player plenty before in Kenneth Walker because they didn't trust him in pass protection or in the pass game. And that's what Jadarian Price brings also. So I think the price here is still fair on Jadarian Price. My point was, like, if he starts going 50th or in the 40s, I'm going to get real careful on Jadarian Price.
And it shouldn't be a surprise. The Seahawks didn't let Kenneth Walker have the Kenneth Walker role until halfway. How many years had he been pigeonholed in that role before they finally unleashed him this year?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to slow play it with this rookie.
Yeah, for sure. Man, Mekhi Lemon went 6.1. That, I think we have him ranked in like the 110 or something like that. That's wild.
Yeah. Yep. No stack for us there. I guess we can put Goddard or Stowers in our back pocket. About to pick at 7-11. We do have the Hurts Barkley pairing. We have Cook and Price also at running back, Tedoroya and Zay. Nothing we need to do here at quarterback. Addison goes. Rank, Dowdle, Warren, Wilson, Myers. Solver likes Wilson, Myers, Godwin. What do you like?
Yeah, I think we need wide receiver, and I would go Michael Wilson. I think we took Jacoby last week, if I recall correctly. Yeah. The Carson Beck stuff definitely scares me. Mazda Marv coming back certainly scares me, but guy showed huge ceiling when given the opportunity. That's kind of tough to pass on. We need wide receiver help.
Yep. Yeah, we grab Wilson. Allen grabs Godwin and Lawrence. So we could go with another wide receiver or grab a fourth running back. I mean, just how these drafts have gone, I don't think it's bad to draft a running back, but we could certainly do the Myers or Pittman thing.
Yeah, I mean, just on our rank, I would probably go Rico. If you prefer Warren or Harvey, though, I think those are close.
No, I mean, it's a fun one to discuss. I mean, the Warren stuff, we've now seen it with multiple backfield partners, him not getting the full shake. Seems like isn't Rico just the new Najee? Isn't that what we expect based on their old pairing?
I think so. But I mean, we also have a history of Mike McCarthy giving Rico Dowdle big workloads, and like obviously they knew each other from Dallas, and Mike McCarthy was like, yeah, I want this guy. And we've also seen multiple coaching staffs not want to turn Jalen Warren into a workhorse at any turn. So yeah, I think Rico is fine. I wouldn't say exciting, but fine. Yeah, and like I talked about this on Market Monday last week too, the RJ Harvey thing. All the stuff that I said about him, it's like all baked in, I mean, this is really cheap for RJ Harvey, who showed an ability to score touchdowns last year. Yes, I think Sean Payton was disappointed. Yes, I don't think that he is going to play on passing downs or run up the middle very much, but that's all baked into this price. I mean, he's really cheap.
Yeah, and I got to give credit to the market on this. Sometimes those ADPs are so sticky and take so long to fall because people are anchored or auto drafters or whatever. Like the Harvey stuff moved pretty quickly.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and J.K. Dobbins, I think, deserves to go right around Harvey there also.
Greg's talking about Lemon's ADP at 72, talking about you guys being way behind. Are you baking in less market specificity to the ETR ranks?
So we do it gradually. So we'll start out right now. I believe we have 5% regression towards ADP. As ADP, we think it starts to get sharper. We'll raise it more, 10%, maybe next week. Then eventually we'll get up to around 20% regression towards the market. So yeah, we have plenty of respect for the market. All our ranks are site-specific regress to ADP, and that'll rise as the summer goes along.
And it all depends on the type of consumer, because a lot of people are going to blindly follow them. I want to know, like, personally, your true take, like, where do you rank these guys straight up, and then let me react to it. But I know some people, if you have a guy 30 spots ahead, they're going to have 100% of them, which you don't want either.
And we want to have respect for the market too. We respect the market for sure. Wisdom of the crowds.
All right, on the clock here, Pittman Jr. at wide receiver, Dobbs is well by ADP. Casey Concepcion, Pitts. What do you like?
Yeah, why not? More Pittsburgh, more Pittsburgh, buddy.
Every draft. I
know, and like, I'll talk to Herzig about. I'll talk about it after we make our next pick. But like, we're not gonna have Pittsburgh stacks all year. It's just like this pocket of drafting season is when we think Pittsburgh prices will be the best.
Yep. So no PSM with Metcalf, but we do get a little PP with Michael Pittman Jr. there. Don't know about that turn of phrase. I'm just going to pretend that never happened. Kyler, Goddard, Aaron Jones, Kincaid, Rodriguez, Shakir, Wandell. What do you like?
Is Concepcion gone?
He just went.
Okay. I'm
going to put Goddard in the queue real quick.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that one. Oh, we have Hurts, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No brainer. Yeah. Come on.
It's ahead of ADP, but right at your guys' rank. And we have Hurts. So with no other strong candidate, I figure we just lock him up.
Yeah. And there's a lot of tight ends that go through in this range, I believe. At least there is on DraftKings. I'm not sure as much on Underdog. But yeah, there's a lot of tight ends that are going to go off the board here. It's possible Goddard goes. I think the Stowers is more likely to be used in like a specialized role, which still isn't great for Goddard, but it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah. Do you think is there any chance Goddard gets moved still, or is that done at this point?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to give up AJ Brown and Goddard in the same offseason.
We had mentioned Najee, and then BK in the chat was asking about predicting Giant or Lion based on what those coaches want in RBs. Do you have any inclination on where he might end up?
I haven't heard. I'm a little uncomfortable with our Cam Scatterboo rank just because he's coming off the injury and Najee is still out there. So it's at least been in the back of my mind, but I have not heard anything on Najee, just like straight radio silence.
And the Giants were kind of like the Broncos pre-NFL draft, where there was a lot of talk about them being interested in price, adding a body, that same kind of like, wait, you don't have confidence in Scatterbo and Tracy. That felt a little bit like a red flag in the same way Peyton kind of, tipped his hand with wanting to add a body as well.
Yeah. Oh, on the Pittsburgh stuff. Yeah. So like we're going to be ahead on Pittsburgh for a little bit here. I don't expect it to last. Like people are going, now that Aaron Rodgers has signed, I think people are going to get more comfortable with Pittsburgh stuff. And eventually, like, I think that the market's going to come to us on Pittsburgh. So my point is like, yeah, sitting here in May, we're getting a lot of Pittsburgh stacks. Come later in May or June, it's going to be some other team that we're like ahead of. And we try to like really be strong on our inputs and not be swayed by what people are doing around us. And it's just over the course of summer, we'll have different places we're ahead and behind of ADP.
Yep. And did you make any adjustments? Do you know when the Rodgers thing got like semi confirmed, or have you guys always been baking in?
We were
Rodgers?
always there. Yeah, we were always there on Rodgers.
Okay. All right, we're about to pick here at 11-11. Let's recap the team. We have Hurts at quarterback, 4 running backs, Cook, Barkley, Price, and Rico. We have 4 wide receivers, Ted Arroyo, Zay, Michael Wilson, Michael Pittman Jr. We did add Dallas Goedert. So a balanced build here. Probably want to think about quarterback plan a little bit here as well.
Can you go Coker and Bryce Young here? Is that, I don't know what Bryce Young's ADP is, but
yeah, that should work. He's at 153, but he's probably not going to come back. And Coker's the top suggestion anyways.
I would go Coker, Bryce Young.
Yeah, let's go Coker. I mean, I just had this happen in the last draft where I reached for Darnold ahead of ADP because I had JSN, and then you look and it's like there's really no opportunity cost. And the flip side is you get completely boxed out at quarterback and your team is dead.
I will say we don't care about the downside risk. We're trying to get first, but I will say for like smaller leagues, and yeah, I would take Bryce here for smaller leagues, or like if I was doing fewer drafts. I mean, I'm not sure Bryce Young makes it to the season if he doesn't play well. Like,
yeah,
I've personally seen enough of this guy. I don't know how Carolina feels, but I've personally seen enough of this guy. If we get to week 8 and he's still, throwing for 150 yards in a game, I don't know how much more that they can take of him. So there's definitely some downside risk here. Not that we care in BBM where we're just shooting for the moon.
Right. And at least the way Bryce hits is like he can be very bad, but he's shown the spikes. Like he can go for 30. And if we're taking Coker, if we're taking Ted Arroyo, like God help us, if we get Kenny Pickett, those picks are dead too. So might as well just keep correlating that bet and trust he holds on for the job.
Right. Exactly.
Let's see here. Go Easy Cards. Is the solver leaning towards a redraft balance build? Well, one thing you can see over here on the side is I can adjust some of these sliders. I have ADP weight in the middle, team stacking, week 17 importance, which will obviously come into play post Thursday when we get the schedule. But you can adjust these sliders for what you want to prioritize. Otherwise, it's pretty agnostic, I believe, to balance builds, right?
Yeah, there's some positional allocation stuff there as well that goes into it, but yeah.
Like I said before, you guys can get 20% off the solver promo code Pete. Head over there. You can get it with all of your overlay needs here. I was showing them before. One fun thing, I can look at my James Cook thing and realize I have him paired 50% of the time so far with James Robinson. You can look at any combo of players, like just look at the combos all with Barkley. Or if you're like, oh man, I always get the 111, I have so many Barkley Cook spots, let me actually see which players are with both of those guys. And I've actually done this start before, and I have 100% Brian Robinson with these two. I'm personally not concerned about that this early into the year, but when we get into July and I'm 100 drafts deep, whatever, I'm going to start to care about this stuff a lot.
For sure. And like, you don't want us to have all your James Cook with Barkley, right? Like I would definitely be mixing that up there. And yes, we have certain guys ranked ahead of others in that range. I just want to emphasize for people, the underlying projections are really close in that range.
Yep. Brady had been asking this. When will it be available on DraftKings?
Yeah, he's talking about the combo exposure. So we're working on it. I hope in the next week or two, but we'll have an announcement there when it's ready.
All right, there you go. Stay tuned for that. If I hear about it, I'll also pass it along to you guys. Hunter Henry, Bretton Strange, Denzel, Boston are the top suggestions here. We have a 2-4-5-1. I mean, quarterback stuff too. We could maybe do Rodgers later. Do you like any of these tight ends, or do you want to grab a rookie wide receiver?
I think rookie wide receiver. I'm much better off with the tight ends. With the tight ends later, I would go Boston. It sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll grab Denzel Boston here at 155. I think he's becoming one of our favorites so far as well. A guy we've drafted a decent bit together.
I mean, if Jerry Jeudy ends up moving on post June 1, you're going to get a CLV on Denzel Boston for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And again, like what we want a Sun run. What does 5 touchdowns get us there at this price?
Probably.
Hunter Henry is the top suggestion at tight end. Jeremy, Calvin Ridley, Kupp, Judy, some of the wide receiver selections. We can keep doing Brian Robinson.
I don't even love Hunter Henry, but this is so far past our rank and a position of need. I think we probably have to take it. I don't love him at all, but yeah.
What are you? Why are you down on Henry? Just with AJ in the mix and just
like I think Hunter Henry's production is like I can get a similar outlook much later, not much later, but, and with our next 2 picks, I don't think the tight end options would be all that different than Hunter Henry.
Let's check a few more questions from the chat here. We have 4 more rounds, a 2-4-6-2. Nick asking, is the 20% code, do you know if that's for new users only for Solver?
I don't want to say because I'm not 100%. Let's find out and we can let you guys know.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pass that along when I get the word. Greg wants to know, who's your favorite quarterback to take naked past pick 123 or 120? I'm thinking Willis, but I got this weird feeling that he's not making it to week 17. Are there any other, I guess, rushing quarterbacks is kind of the spirit of this question?
Yeah, no, I mean, Malik Willis is the one for me. I do think that he will make it through week 17. Unlike the Justin Fields situation, like Justin Fields, they already had a ton of tape on. I mean, they saw him do all kinds of things with Chicago and Pittsburgh, so they didn't need to get that big of an evaluation. There's not that much tape at the NFL level on Malik Willis, especially playing in more of a pro-style offense. So I think they're going to $45 million guaranteed. I think they're going to give him the full season no matter how bad it gets. And yeah, I could easily see Malik Willis rushing for 1,000 yards, like easy.
And I would say that is one of the most unfortunate things about this drafting landscape is in previous years, we've had, it was Daniel Jones was hanging around late, or even Richardson during that period where at least you knew you were going to get some rushing floor. We had the rookie quarterbacks. Bo Nix was late. Drake May was late. All of these guys this year, just nothing like that exists right now where you could always put that in your back pocket in a pinch.
Yeah. The only other quarterback that I think like I take late that I think has some upside is Mendoza, just because I think he'll start more games than the market does. Like I think he's going to play a lot of games. And so, yeah, I'm okay with Mendoza.
Maybe we save this until we actually put them on our roster, but Ron's wondering if you have an early quote unquote, my guy in the later rounds.
It's a little early, but yeah, let me think about a couple guys here before we get to it.
Yep. All right. Let me recap the team so we can lock in for these last 4 picks. We have a 2-4-6-2. We have Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young. Running back room looking solid still with those 4 early. James Cook, Barkley, Price, and Rico. Up to 6 wide receivers now. Ted Arroyo, Zay, Michael Wilson, Michael Pittman Jr., Jalen Coker, Denzel Boston, Dallas Goedert, and Hunter Henry. So we got the Eagles bet. We got the the Bryce Young double stack. Here's a quick question. Is this a 2 quarterback room for you, or do you want to entertain like a Rodgers, Brissett with these other stack options?
Yeah, I don't think I can really take Brissett given the Carson Beck stuff. And that's why we do have Brissett unranked, I believe, in our ranks. So I don't want to take Brissett. I think Carson Beck's going to be starting late. So it would be Rodgers if you wanted to do one.
So my guess is like this rank on Brissett, obviously your rank on Geno, it's tethered to like, not only are they not a lock to play in the fantasy playoffs, but even if they do, they're probably not contributing that much from a spike week perspective.
Exactly.
Is Rodgers someone you would want to grab here with the 3 quarterbacks? We could go Jeremy and then Rodgers potentially if you want to get that double.
Yeah, oh, God, so much Pittsburgh.
I know every one of our teams is.
Yeah, I think Jeremy's a good pick here, regardless if we take Rodgers or not.
Okay.
What are the let me see the tight ends real quick.
So it would be like Freiermuth if you wanted to add him to our big Steelers thing. By rank, it's Cage, Schultz, Freiermuth, Helm.
Yeah, I would go Helm. And then if we wanted to take a 4th, Darnell Washington over Freiermuth for me. If with like at cost, I think. But
if
there's a wide receiver you like, I think we have room for that too. But
yeah, no, it's basically just thinking through the order of it. I think I don't see anyone I absolutely love here. I'm fine going Rodgers, and then we know we got flexibility with how to play the end game.
Yeah, I mean the end game could be Freiermuth or Darnell Washington, but we could also take 4 tight ends on this team, maybe if you're okay with 4 running backs.
I think I'm okay with these 4: Cook, Barkley, Price, Rico. I think this is one of those spots where I never want to box myself into a specific structure because you have to be contextual with the landscape, and just the running back or the wide receivers are going to be stronger selections than the running backs, just how it is right now.
Yeah. You see, we got some rookies here. Like a take that I'm workshopping is that even like the Slappies and the ship chasing bros are out on rookies this year, which means it's finally time for us to get back in on the rookies. Like now, everybody's out on rookies. The prices are depressed. Now, at long last, it's like, oh my God, we can finally take rookies again at reasonable prices. And so that's one take on workshopping. The problem is it's hard for me to get excited about any of them just because all the landing spots and player outlooks are so bad. But yeah, I'm workshopping.
Yeah, the counter is, of course, drafting early. We want to avoid zeros, and some of these rookies could be stone zeros. The counter to that is every running back available on the board right now has liability to be a stone zero. So might as well take the mystery box rookie who has room to really outperform their profile or their draft capital, essentially.
Yeah. And like I take some Kalen Black here late and hope that he beats out Garendo and Jordan James. I mentioned Gunnar Helm. Did he end up going? Yeah, Gunnar Helm.
Yeah.
I thought he would have been okay. I'm trying to look here for guys I take a lot late. It depends how late he means. I did think Ryan Flournoy was okay late. I do the Chris Bell, Caleb Douglas stuff late a little bit. Calvin Ridley, I just think at 178 is just wild. Not wild, but he deserves to go higher. And I take a lot of Antonio Williams. I don't feel great about like the late round stuff yet. I think like I'll feel way better about that after rookie camps and we get like a little bit more information on how I think the depth chart's going to play out at the back end.
Yeah. All right. We are about to make our final two selections. We have a 3-4-7-2. We're done at quarterback. Freiermuth is still here, but if you prefer Darnell Washington straight up, we could go that route. Also can look at a wide receiver or running back.
No, I think at cost, I preferred Washington, but like straight up, I still prefer Freiermuth.
Yeah, let's grab Freiermuth here. And then we're done at tight end with Goddard, Henry, Freiermuth. We have 4 running backs, 7 wide receivers. I do think it's just your favorite pure play position between running back, wide receiver. Doesn't matter here.
You don't think it could be a 4 tight end team, but I guess Goddard's a little high. I mean,
yeah, it could be. It could be. It would be like Stowers. Oh, you could double up Eagles tight ends if you wanted.
Yes, do it. Because I in BBM especially, I don't think Stowers is going to be drafted enough. Yeah. Like there's outcomes where they think Stowers is actually like a replacement for AJ Brown. If you look at like their measurables, Stowers to me is like way more equipped to play the AJ Brown role than the Dallas Goedert role. But I the most likely scenario is Stowers plays like 40% of the snaps or 35% of snaps, but in very specialized passing situations.
Right. And again, I'm not, our hope is that Stowers delivers a Gadsden-esque rookie year. But I will say, like, Stowers at 206 sure feels a lot better to me than Gadsden at 136, which is where he went in this draft.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
A couple other questions before we recap this team. McNova was asking one. I've been thinking about this too. Curious your thoughts. How does the Vikings backfield shake out?
That's when I've been taking some Damon Claiborne because I think Aaron Jones can't last through the season. I think Jordan Mason sucks. So I don't know a ton about Damon Claiborne, but I know some people that I respect think he has plenty of juice. And so I've been mixing him in. I do not take much of Jones or Mason right now.
Going back to what we were talking about with like the taking the zero stuff, I do think if you drafted a team on paper and just realistically you picked one player from each round within reason and you kind of reverse engineered and really planned out your draft, I mean, you would basically always reserve those last 4 picks for wide receivers and tight ends because the running backs are so fragile. The quarterbacks are so fragile. Obviously, it doesn't always break that way, but I do think if you're looking for loose guidelines, that's how I ideally would approach it.
Yeah. I mean, last year I thought tight end was so clearly the best picks in rounds 18, 19, 20 or 17, 18 on underdog, whatever. So clear. It's like I was actively trying. Anytime it was close for me in round 12, 13, whatever, I would shy away from tight end knowing there were so many guys I liked late, Theo Johnson, Jauan Johnson. I don't even remember who they were at this point. But yeah, I think that's a big thing to think about right now for sure. Wide receiver, tight end late is mostly what's there.
Njoku goes 197 in this draft. Is he on the draft radar for you now, or is that just a non-factor as far as him and his own value?
I pretty worried about Njoku. I think we came in at like 210 overall and on Njoku. The thing I said at the top, the NFL didn't seem to have a lot of interest in him. I think that Charlie Kolar is a better blocker and Gadsden's a better receiver. So like, where does that leave Njoku? If you're not the best blocking tight end on the team and you're not the best pass catching tight end on the team, maybe a red zone role for Njoku. But like beyond that, I'm not very excited about him.
Yeah, you can see here, ADP heading into this morning, 119.3. ETR moved him to 145. The ETR ranking on Njoku, 210. I've said this before in these spots. I'll say it again for Gadsden. If you're still a Gadsden bull, just sit him out for a couple of weeks because his ADP will track closer to the ETR rank. People will, start to react more to the Njoku signing. Just don't pay these prices now because Gadsden will be the type of player come August who will slip 10 picks in a room because people are doing other stuff. And you can get him at 155 in August is basically what I'm saying.
For sure. And I could see some FUD coming on Gadsden that would really tank the ADP. Like let's say they line up for the first day of training camp with Kolar and Njoku, not Gadsden on the field, right? Like that would tank his ADP. I mean, just absolutely tank it. So yeah. Let me see the bottom. I'm just curious what people are taking at the very end here.
Yeah, I was going to bring up a couple of those because I wanted to get your take on like the Watson, Shadur stuff, but like Jack Besh, Kalen Black, I'm reverse order for the final picks. Cooper Kupp, Dulcich, Jaden Blue, Dontavian Wicks, Keon Coleman, Brennan Thompson, Emmett Johnson, Malik Washington, Stowers, Jalen Lane. Wow.
Yeah. Kalen Black, I think if you need running back help late, like if you're going to take a contingent back, make it one that could actually go off. And yeah, it's not clean for Black. I think that Jordan James and Grendo would also play. But let's say Kalen Black actually turns out to be as good as the 49ers claim that he is on their draft board. And then McCaffrey goes down. Like you could really have something there. So I would say Black would be my favorite one there. In the previous round, I saw some people, I guess the prospect bros don't really like Zachariah Branch.
Yeah.
He's so small, but there's a very clean path to playing time on Zachariah Branch that I think he's at least interesting there. I guess I probably like him more than the prospect bros do right now.
What's your take on the Watson Shadur stuff? Because a spot you're going to find yourself in is one we have, right? Where it's like Casey Concepcion looks like a good pick in that 110 range. Denzel Boston looks like a nice value. We like Fannin, etc. Do you just sit this one out for now, or do you start to take a lean on the quarterback?
No, I'm sitting it out. Dude, go back and watch Deshaun Watson last time he played football. It was the worst thing you could ever possibly see. Like, I don't see how he makes it through the season at all. It would be a Todd Monken miracle to revive Deshaun Watson. So no, I'm sitting it out. I don't know what they're going to do exactly, but I've been sitting out quarterback.
What is your read on, is Mary Kay Cabot, is she just state propaganda for what the organization wants out there? Because she's saying everybody internally and even some of the beats are like, Watson looks phenomenal. It's not what you last saw. That's what they're telling us.
Yeah. I continue to think that 95% of beat writer takes are like less informed fantasy bro takes. Like I would trust fantasy bros more than like 95% of beat writer takes. So I'm kind of ignoring all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's important. Like we would all like to know, how about this? Let me reframe it. Let's say we find out that Deshaun Watson is going to start week 1. What probability would you assign that he's still the starting quarterback come the fantasy playoffs?
God, very low. Very low. Yeah.
So then again,
he also hasn't looked motivated to me. Like he hasn't looked like he actually wants to play football, like, yeah, I have him and Brandon Ayuk. Like I have so many bad vibes around those guys.
Yep. If you guys have any other questions for Adam, feel free to drop them in the chat. We got 654 people watching live on this Monday morning. Please hit the like button in the subscribe.
Get a job. 654 people.
Hey, I mean, we live in the ultimate multitask era. Everybody has AI agents doing their job so they can watch Best Ball Breakfast. Do not shame the good people for watching this show, Adam.
How many of these people watch how many hours are you doing today? 6 or something?
I do 4 hours. 4 hours on Monday.
Do you think a lot of these people are watching all 4?
Well, let's put it in the chat. Let us know. Maybe I'll do a formal vote. This would be my hunch. My hunch is that a lot of people kind of like pop in, pop out while they're doing stuff. But I'm guessing there's some completists who would go back, whether on the audio or the video, and fill in the spots that they missed.
This guy said, I have AI agents watching the show so I can work.
I want to know, what is your personal use of AI so far? What do you use it for, or do you use it at all?
5th grade basketball player efficiency model.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I have a model for my 5th grade team, and we input the stats, and it gives us like a player rating. We kind of use for rotations and stuff like that. Yeah, for work stuff, I think just like to me, I'm not using it as well as I should. Plenty of people on our team are. The biggest thing to me is like, how fast can I read a press conference? How fast can I digest news? Just way faster with the summary stuff. But no, we're building stuff, but me personally, we're building stuff with the Claude and stuff like that, obviously, but me personally, not as much. I should be more. I'm such a boomer, man. You realize that I still use a paper calendar. I don't use Google Calendar. So I have like here, look, I have like
dude, I think I remember you telling me this. Paper calendar is crazy work, dude.
And when I have stuff, I write it. I write it down on this calendar here. I just don't want to have to always be. I'm so tired of looking at my phone. I do not want to be looking at my phone for every little thing.
Dude, well, what's so funny about that is literally this morning, I had to let you know that I double booked myself for the podcast we're recording tomorrow. And now I feel even worse knowing you had to go in your little calendar and cross it off and move it down. You could have just slid it down in Google Calendar, man.
No, I have plenty of room to mark it off and change the time.
Incredible. I did put up this poll. Type 1 in the chat if you watch or consume less than 1 hour of Best Ball Breakfast. 2 in the chat if you're in the 1 to 2 hour range. 3 for 2 to 3 hours. 4 if you're 3 to 4 plus hours. And we'll get Adam the data he needs to know if he should continue doing this show with me every week.
Well, no, I was just curious how sticky it is. And I do think it makes sense. Like, I think I do this too. Like, I find something interesting, I put it in the background while I'm doing something else. The problem is if it's too good, then it distracts me and I can't do the other thing. So like the background thing becomes the main thing, and that's a problem. But like my favorite thing is to have golf or tennis on in the background and do work at the same time.
Well, that's how you know the shows. Like, I can look at a podcast in my feed, both what the show is and the title or whatever, and know, okay, this is one I want. Oh, I'll do this while I'm working out so I can give it my undivided attention or close to, versus, oh, this is multitasking, throw it on in the background ambient. So there are levels to it for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Based on early votes here, over 54% of you are completionists or near completionists watching 3 to 4 hours of this. Only 2% of you, less than 1. If you're here now, there's a good chance you are consuming at least 1 to 2 hours. 17% in that range, 26% in the 2 to 3.
Yeah.
What are tease a little bit here? What we're going to be talking about on this show we're going to record tomorrow.
Yeah. So we've been doing this show annually now. I think this is the 3rd year that we're doing it, and so many people are like, should I do 0 RB? Should I do a hero RB? What do you think about elite quarterback this year? And it's so specific to each where the ADP is at, and like the macro for the season and like player outlooks for the season. So I think it's important to redo it every year. So this year, me, Peter, and Herzig are going to be ranking best ball strategies specific to 2026. So we haven't finished the rankings exactly yet, but something like robust RB could be the top strategy this year. And maybe we think elite quarterback is really good this year and elite tight end is bad. And we're going to rank, I believe it's 1 to 9 of those strategies and just talk through them. The ranking stuff, I think as a YouTuber, Pete, you would know the ranking stuff I think is important for the YouTube streets, but really we just want to talk about all these strategies for this year and how they apply and how good we think they are for this year specifically.
Yes. And, we have to remember some people have already drafted hundreds of teams. They kind of can feel their way around through different builds, but some people are just starting to get their toes wet. Even in the chat, so there were some people who said, hey, I'm drafting my first teams after the schedule. I'm not going to bother pre there. So it's nice to have some shortcuts to catch people up to speed. nothing can replace just reps in draft rooms. Even I'm feeling rusty. I'm only drafting on stream so far. I haven't drafted myself, and I'm still like figuring out these 2v2s, these value pockets. You got to get the reps to get really comfortable with it.
100%. And yeah, that's why like I like using this time of year and the lottos and stuff like that to like get the reps and then play some more serious stuff later in the summer, because yeah, it's really early for me also. And like, imagine like normal people are like, you did 100 drafts. It's May 11th. The schedule's not even out yet. Yeah.
Well, and that's what it's been nice what Underdog's doing this year, because they've been putting out these time box contests. So if you don't want to blow your BBM bullets right now, go do the Dachshund, do the puppy. You know, this will fill probably in a couple of weeks, and then there'll be another. So you can have fun drafting and not worry about competing against really smart August drafters, basically.
1,000%. I love that. The more time box contests, the better. If anyone out there is listening at Underdog or DraftKings or Drafters, wherever, like the more time box contests, the better. In other words, contests that will fill within the next 1 to 14 days or something like that. I love those. Those are awesome.
Do we know if anyone has maxed yet? I'm sure there's someone. I feel like every year around this time, someone pops up with their tweet. Here's my 150 exposures. It'll always be something like, I was going on a 4-month Alaskan cruise, so wanted to get in my entries early. And they have like 65% Jeremy Bernard, shout out ETR ranks. Have you guys had any this past week, any good ranking battles in the chat, or have things simmered down after the release?
Oh my God, so many. I felt like we were a little high Stafford off the TD rate. We talked about that for a little bit. We got it. His TD rate last year was like 7.7%. Now we have it at 5.5% projected here. Like pocket quarterbacks coming off of these huge outlier TD rate seasons always scare me, but we checked it and that one looks okay. Let me go back here. We did adjust on the Jalen Naylor Tucker thing. I think we were too high Tucker and a little low Naylor, so we cleaned that up a little bit. We added Jauan Jennings. We debated that for a while on the Vikings stuff with Jauan Jennings too.
Oh yeah, we didn't. We haven't had a best ball breakfast since that news broke, and I blew past that. Clearly, no one had any interest in talking about it, or I didn't see the chat asking about it. What was the take on Jauan Jennings?
Yeah, I question just like how good Jauan Jennings is as like a fantasy player. Yeah, I think he's pretty valuable in real life. He's a good blocker. You know, he's solid, but I don't like want to dock Addison too much for the Jauan Jennings signing. Obviously, we had to dock him some, but not. I didn't want to go too far on it. So yeah, we're trying to stay with Jauan Jennings like a clear third option here for the Vikings. Clearly, obviously behind Justin Jefferson, but clearly behind Addison also.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where isn't the selling point for Jauan Jennings was kind of as a possession guy who could rack up targets. I mean, that's a tough thesis when you're competing with Jefferson, Addison, and Hawk for targets, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, even in San Francisco, I worry about these guys who played for Kyle Shanahan. And I think Kevin O'Connell's awesome, but like when you had your breakout with Kyle Shanahan, maybe a lot of that had to do with Kyle Shanahan. You know, like Jordan Mason was awesome for Kyle Shanahan. Then he goes to Minnesota. I have not been very impressed at all. So I worry about that a little bit too. Yeah, I'm just looking at the ranks. We're at 82 on Addison and 148 on Jauan Jennings. So yeah.
Yes, you're just slightly behind. And this is funny because like it's Jauan Jennings, Denzel Boston. Someone mentions in the chat that Jennings could be someone who could just help you with some early season production, bide your time to the rookies. It probably will be dependent on like what does your team need, because Jennings and Boston offer two very different things.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, Addison has had plenty of off-field and, injury woes, and Jennings in the wide receiver 2 role for Kevin O'Connell and Kyler would be somewhat interesting. I think there's a little bit of contingent value there, at least on Jennings, that you might not get with some of these other guys later.
Let's officially recap the team. I got distracted with a few different side quests there, but team number 20 in the books. I believe this is our third best ball breakfast team together, Adam. We finished with Jalen Hurts, Bryce Young, and Aaron Rodgers. We stuck with just those 4 running backs: James Cook, Barkley, Jadarian Price, and Rico. Our wide receivers: Tedaroya McMillan, Zay Flowers, Michael Wilson, Michael Pittman, Jalen Coker, Denzel Boston, and Jeremy Bernard. And our 4 tight ends, a spicy double tap of the Eagles guys, Goddard and Stowers, along with Hunter Henry and Pat Freiermuth. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think doing the double tap at tight end makes sense because we had Hurts. You know, if we didn't have Hurts, I would have been like, you know, let's not do the Stowers and Goddard thing. But with Hurts, you get the correlation, and like so much of your tight end scoring is tied to touchdowns, and obviously those would come from Hurts. So yeah, I actually like the 4 tight end thing here. Only 4 running backs. I don't know how often you do that. You know, when you have 20 rounds, I don't do that very often. I get with 18 rounds, people are probably doing 4 running backs more. But yeah, how often do you think you're doing 4 running back this year?
You know, it's funny you say that because I just did a team the other day on stream with some Fantasy Life. I pulled it up real quick here. Taylor, Walker, Breece Hall, Bucky. Like, obviously those were all 4 early. I think if you have 4 through 7 or 8 rounds, like in this landscape specifically, I don't feel the pressure to force tack one on late.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the one that you just had was way better than our group. I mean, but yeah.
But obviously the wide receiver room is far worse in comparison, you know, being able to get Tedaroya and Zay in there, at least giving you some alpha upside earners. But yeah, I mean, obviously this running back room kind of comes down to price. Like, price is kind of the linchpin, whether you can pull off a 4 running back room here.
For sure. Yeah. And like I said, I you know, I talked about it on Market Monday, but like the time to get Price is now. Like, we got him at 59 here. I don't think that's going to last, you know, through August. I think it's going to start to rise.
Yep. It is funny, Adam, you know, as a former resident in Pennsylvania, there is a lot of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh players on this team. Some might accuse you of latent homerism.
Oh, God.
Our teams, like, if I go back to last week, we had a Rodgers stack there with Jeremy. So we had that, and then our first one, we had
a triple without Rodgers, I think.
Yes, the triple without Rodgers. So we are all in on the Pittsburgh Steelers with our portfolio, dude.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Let the people know you're going to record Market Monday. We're going to get together for that show tomorrow, ranking structural strategies. What else should the people know?
Yeah, and Herzig and I have been doing some streams similar to this on DK. If you guys want to check out some of those on the YouTube machine there as well. And for any golf bros out there, Pete, it is PGA Championship week.
Yeah.
ETR golf product is up if you guys want to check out our projections and all the context around those. I love our golf product. I know, obviously, I'm biased, but it's so fun. Like, God, DFS golf is so fun. Yeah. So
I am in a one and done competition where I'm just getting absolutely slaughtered. Can you tout me a Hail Mary pick for PGA to get me back in contention?
Yes. God, let me think here. This is going to be in Aronimink.
What did you just say?
It's in Philly. PGA Championship is in Philly.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
course called Aronimink. I like either, as if you were way behind in one and done, I would try something like JJ Spawn.
Ooh.
Or maybe like a Goddard up.
Okay.
But I'd wait to see our projections and then see. But yeah, those you can find guys at like 1% and one and done for sure.
What are you playing these days for golf? Are you playing like small field high stakes? Are you playing lotto? What scratches the itch for you?
Yeah, I'm playing mostly for fun. So I'll play like the lower stakes single entry, like the 100 single entry or the 200 single entry. There's a 333 on FanDuel that I like to play. But no, I'm not playing like huge at all. And no, I don't really play the lotto very much. I also like to, if I just have like if I like a guy, I'll bet him, you know, top 5, top 10, top 20. It's just fun, man. And like, I'm always up early on Thursday and Friday. Like, I love sweating golf as soon as I wake up. It's so fucking fun. Like, it's so fun to wake up at 6 a.m. and already have your guy like double bogeying on 4. It's just like it's so fun.
I did a bash episode this week where people hop on stream and draft teams with me. And the guest, this cool dude, McLean, was telling me about a prop bet he did with his buddy. Who could dunk first, I believe was the bet. And it reminded me, do you have any good prop bets cooking up this summer, or are you in a desert for that?
Steven Kozlov is a professional tennis player. Saw me talking about the frying pan match like a month ago and said he's down to play a frying pan match. This guy was better than Bass, 103 in the world. This guy got up to now. He's still on tour. He's like 2-something in the world. I'm a little worried for him. I don't want him to like ruin his elbow or his shoulder. He's like actively on tour by playing with a frying pan, but he said he wants to play. So hopefully we can set it up. And I think with the modern technology, the frying pan will be way lighter now than it was when Bass had. I mean, Bass's shoulder and elbow were like legit messed up after the frying pan match because the pan.
You're saying frying pan technology has evolved to where it makes it more viable for these matches?
I think I'm like a huge underdog to this guy, like huge, especially if this frying pan is light. Like,
well, so explain. I mean, I assume you're getting even way better odds than you did versus Bass if it's harder.
Nah, we didn't even talk terms. I mean, I don't know how much money this guy has or how much he wants to play for, but yeah, I mean, whatever he wants. I was hoping we could just do it for fun / content.
Wow. Look at you. Mr. Hustler now willing to do prop bets just for the fun, the love of the game. Who are you, dude?
I'm old, man. I'm old.
All right. Well, you're old. You can go take your afternoon nap. I guess it's 10 a.m. there in Denver, but always a pleasure drafting. I will see you tomorrow for that recording. Any parting shots here for the people? No.
Appreciate all you guys. It's pretty amazing. There's 600 and something people watching this live. Shout out to you guys. Best ball it's the best. And obviously Pete making it super famous has been a huge part of it. So appreciate all you guys.
Get out of here. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. And we did have the programming note, no Levitan this week. I need to talk to you about the following week because we're not doing a show on Memorial Day. I was thinking about maybe flexing something to Tuesday. I'll touch base with you, but no Levitan next week. I'll also touch base with you. Maybe we'll get another ETR contributor to join in your spot.
It is my 15th wedding anniversary next week. So I will be on vacation next week. So yes, enjoy your best ball breakfast next week. I will be having the sex.
All right. I will be sure to bring that up of, Levitan's not here drafting 4 tight ends. You can picture what he's doing instead. All right. We'll catch you later, Levitan.
All right. Later.
All right. Peace. All right. There goes Adam Levitan. Love drafting with him. New addition to the best ball breakfast lineup this year. We're going to have Sam Sherman coming by in a little bit. I will say this. I'll read this DM from him. This is how you know he's not bullshitting about being within the thick of the corporate grind. Potential I'm running 5 to 10 minutes late today. Work meeting back to back. That might go a bit long. Sorry about that. Can you imagine Sam right now in a work meeting just daydreaming about a Dejon Stribling take that he wants to fire on Best Ball Breakfast and ignoring whatever corporate bullshit they're discussing right now? We need to free this man from the shackles of corporate America. Turn him into a full best ball bro, full-time best ball bro. All right, let me see how we're doing on the So You Think You Can Tout goal, right? We said we wanted to get to 1,000 subs during the show. We're at 959. We're making progress. We're still 41 subs away. We have 644 people watching. 644. Can we just put an end to this? Can we get this to 1K before the debut of episode 2? You don't have to take my word for it. People have been loving it. The Pat Mayo show is almost to 7,000 views. Very excited for everyone to watch today's video where we will reveal the cast, the first cut down from 135 down to 27. It's going to be a very fun episode. Excited for all of those people who submitted, who have been in the mix, who have been chomping at the bit to find out if they made it. Today is that day. It'll be immediately following the Best Ball Breakfast stream at 2 p.m. Eastern. You will be redirected from this video to the live premiere over there at 2 p.m. Eastern. It is a separate YouTube channel, hence why I would like you to subscribe now so you don't miss future episodes. And it'd be nice to get to 1,000 subs over there. I'll drop it in the chat one more time, up to 960. So you think you can tout? So you think you can smash the subscribe button? I would greatly appreciate it. Let's see here. Daniel says, so you think you can tout a one-off Pete, or is there potential for season 2 next year? I mean, I truly am taking this one day at a time, one show at a time. Part of it, that's so fun to me is like I by nature like to plan things out. I like to know my schedule. I like to know how things are going to look, but I've kind of had to disavow myself of that for this specific project because I want to be so reactive to how things are happening real time, being able to come up with a twist and then spin up a show to do that twist, doing Best Ball Bash on Wednesday and then realizing, wait, Wells' submission wasn't that great, but this longer audition that he stumbled into happened to be a really good performance by him. Boom, you're now a contender. So all that to say, I am really taking this one day, one show at a time. But if this show continues to gain popularity, if it's a success by the numbers, by the engagement, all of that stuff, I can't imagine not doing it again. So, but that all determines on how it goes. I mean, if everybody stops caring, then am I going to do it again? No. But if people are as engaged as they've been so far, then I think absolutely I would love to run it back for sure. No, oh, geez. I almost got it. No set content schedule for Tout Show. Correct. And, it's hard because in a perfect world, I would love to say every Friday or every Monday at 2 Eastern, there's a new episode. But the reality of the situation is we have the ideas and the things we want to do for the show. Then we have to put them in motion, whether hosting live streams, booking interviews with the contestants, giving them challenges, having them go make content. Then we have to edit them. And it's not just edit it. We have to get it back. We have to storyboard it, put it in a logical narrative flow that's going to be interesting to you guys, the viewers. So it's a long way of saying the production on it requires a lot because we don't have the benefit of knowing how this ends like most reality shows. And then you edit it in accordance to where you want to get to. We're quite literally building this plane as we fly. And because of that, and because of what the editors are doing too, from a turnaround perspective, like they are already busting their asses. I mean, Zach sent over the edit to me last night at like 3 a.m. Eastern. These guys are working really hard. So I've given this caveat a few times. I'm just going to need some patience from the viewers because I think the content's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really fun. But yeah, it's just not going to be a boom, 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 new episode, new episode, new episode. My hope is that as things get whittled down and we have less applicants, we can settle in to more of a rhythm. But right now it's just pure chaos. The amount of scheduling I'm having to do and that I will have to do with these next contenders as well for their challenge. It's a lot. It's a lot. So we'll figure it out. We'll hopefully hit a rhythm. But yes, to answer that question, no set schedule right now. Alexi says, I'd like to get into the next draft. If you ever want to get tipped off, I do try to let people know in the Discord when I am hopping in a chat. If you are a YouTube member of the Best Ball Value Hounds tier in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, there's a channel that you unlock with that subscription. And most of the time, sometimes I'm bad at reminding people, but most of the time I try to tip you guys off when I'm hopping in a draft. That's the best way to get in a draft. So you think you can tout? Question from MacNova. Has it been as fulfilling and interesting as you thought it would be? Absolutely. It has been all consuming. Normally I'm pretty compartmentalized with, work or whatever, where I kind of shut my brain off, at the end of the day, it's family time, it's whatever, decompressing, all of that. I've been thinking about this show nonstop. When I'm laying awake in bed at night, when I'm up in the morning, when I'm going on walks, when I'm running errands, I'm thinking of angles, I'm thinking of things I want to do, all of that stuff. So yes, it has been so fun, massively energizing, having an absolute blast working on this. Go AZ Cards wants another coffee poured. I think I did sneak one in that you guys didn't notice when Levitan was on, but I think I got room for one more for you, Charles. One more coffee pour. I think that's going to be it for today's coffee. That is going to be it. Did Kurt secure a spot? Definitely one of the favorites here, at least fan favorites. I put this short up on X. JJ, the late round QB, said Kurt is his number one. I'll show you guys here real quick if you haven't seen Kurt. He is a real life exterminator. Mayo did not like him, but the people love him, and we love him.
So you think you can?
Oops.
So you think you can tout? You fucking ain't right. We fucking think we can. Ram is here. We're ready. We got the cakes. We got the truth serum. We got all the goodness for you. You know, we're coming to play. We're out here. You know, me, my fucking hot ass fiance, Courtney. Show him the ring, babe. Show him the ring. See the ring? See, you know, engagement ring with J.C. Penney.
I got it. He had me until that.
Can I force you to watch the rest of it?
Yeah, I could put it on.
PPR Tyler's out here. The guy, he looks like Bumper from Pitch Perfect, fucking on Fat Amy. We ain't worried about that. Goofy Chicken, you're out here trying to break even. I'm out here trying to get rich. You know, I got some takes. You want Ashton Genty? If I have pick 4, you're fucked. You ain't getting them. You know, that ain't happening. You want a truth serum? Here's a little truth serum brew for me here. Truth serum is, you give me almost 4K in psych credits, I'm fucking making a shit ton of money. I drafted some teams. We only did 40 BBMs last year. Guess what? We had a team come in the top 25 in the overall week 14 standings. Suck it. You know, we met some eliminator teams. We almost maxed the eliminator. Guess what? We were playing for 5K. Did we lose? Yeah, unfortunate. You can blame Damus Matic for that. Oh, Javante Williams, he's cooked. Javante, take draft Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders. Oh, okay, that fucked half my draft up. But you give me money, I'm fucking, you know, we're out here, boys. We are in Wisconsin. We are an exterminator. I call myself an assassin, but, you know, it's for bugs. But, you know, we're an exterminator, and we're doing shit. You give me money, I'm going to fuck shit up.
This is over 90 seconds.
This was one of the few submissions that I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I just was holding on for dear life in a way I wasn't for a lot of the submissions.
Oh my goodness. The home stretch of that submission, like he breaks the rule. Like nobody cares what you've won. Nobody cares where you finished in the puppy, whatever. But holy shit, we're going to fuck shit up. And then his cameraman alerting him to the fact that he was about to go over the 90-second submission and just cutting it right away. Absolutely electric. No spoilers, but we're probably going to see some more Kurt Rambis in our lives. All right. Actually, this man that I'm about to bring on stage, he might disagree that no one cares what you've won. Sam Sherman, put that debate to rest. Do people care what you've won? Or are you still just that same old lovable guy?
You know, I'm sure, Pete, if I hadn't won Best Ball Mania, you still would have invited me on to do the stream this year. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that I won. It's more about my personality, my takes. So, you know, people, yeah.
You know what? And it's like the guy who won BBM 2 years ago, he never came out of the woodwork. Before that was Fareed Shaheed. He didn't want to do any streaming other than a few appearances. So, you know, I can't, you know, we got Kerrane, you know, Herzig does his own thing. Liam does his own thing. We were desperate for someone to win who could fill this void on Best Ball Breakfast, and you perfectly did.
Yeah, that's true. That is impressive that Fareed, I didn't know you were allowed to win Best Ball Mania without touting. So it's, yeah, really
does
impressive
help
that he went that route. Yeah.
The chat wants to know, what is this backdrop? You're looking extra studious in a library setting.
I traveled out to LA for a wedding this weekend. My fiance has a good friend out here. She grew up out here. So I am in her parents' like office library setup for the show today.
What you need to do is be more ambiguous when you go to LA. You say, I was taking some meetings out in LA. It could be anything. You could be negotiating your new best ball breakfast contract, all of those different things. But I guess a wedding is fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been nice out here. Good to get some LA sunshine. Good break from the East Coast. I don't know. I guess the weather's finally starting to turn in the Boston area, Pete, but it's been kind of a pretty dreary winter and spring, to be honest. So it's been nice to be out here.
Well, before we start drafting, let's get your take real quick on a couple of the news situations that have broke since we last drafted Jauan Jennings to the Vikings. And then today, David Njoku to the Chargers. Do you have any tough love for the Oronde Gadsden bros out there?
Yeah, I think we might have drafted him last week. I'm mixing up my streams. It could have been Pat and I, but I think one of my streams last week, we took Oronde Gadsden, and I think, I think it hurts him for sure. I think he should fall in ADP. I don't think it's over for him just because of Njoku signed there. I guess I really do want to see the details of the contract, but I think it's definitely possible that we'd see a similar split of Njoku Gadsden that we saw with Fannin Njoku last year in Cleveland, and they both have 60-70% route participation rates, are both somewhat fantasy viable. But yeah, Njoku really didn't seem to have much of a market in free agency this year. At least that's how I'm reading it, given how long it took him to sign. So I think it's possible Gadsden still is the de facto starter there, but it's certainly, you can't spin it as a good thing for Gadsden. He should probably fall into the 150, ish range, I think.
Yeah, isn't it feels so similar to the Isaiah Likely stuff where it's we love the talent, we love the profile, the offense is exciting, but if you're losing a bunch of snaps and stuff, you're probably going to need an injury to be a true league winner, but you can probably spike your way to paying off that cost just with that talent. Yeah,
exactly. And he really, once they had all the offensive line issues last year in the Chargers, he really fell off because they just needed to bring in the Will Dissly blocking type guys to fill some of the gaps on the blocking front. So he is a pretty scheme dependent guy, Gadsden, for sure.
All right, Sam, we are in a draft here on the clock at 1-7 by ADP. Jonathan Taylor, Amon-Ra, CD, Jefferson, Cook, Genty. Who do you like?
I like Taylor here. Let's grab the anchor running back.
Anchor running back, Jonathan Taylor, come on down. Have you been drafting much off stream lately? Or are you still kind of easing into 2026 drafting?
Yeah, still easing into it. I've done maybe 3 or 4 drafts off stream over the past couple weeks. I'm kind of waiting for the schedule to come out to start drafting more seriously. I feel right now it's a bit of a dead pocket to be drafting right now with the information gaps we have. The ADP is kind of crystallized a little bit. I feel a lot of the big values have been taken out of it. So I think once the schedule launches, Pete, I'll feel more of a urge to start drafting more.
Yeah, that's what I was saying this to the chat earlier, where it was normally the NFL draft is this catalyst event that makes drafting feel fresh and new again. But this class was so bad that it just felt like pre-NFL drafting. We're going to get the schedule, which will actually make this all feel fresh and new again. So I envision myself breaking my seal of no off-stream drafts once we get the schedule as well.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I agree with that.
We got Jonathan Taylor to start. We will see what goes down here. I think we took the big dog in a similar range last week. I did confirm we did take Gadsden on this team, and we had taken Josh Jacobs and Henry.
Okay.
Not that we can't take Henry again, though. We don't have him paired yet with Jonathan Taylor. Henry, Chase Brown, Rashee Rice, London, Bowers. What do you like?
Why don't we mix it up and do Chase Brown instead of Henry?
Yeah.
I think, Chase Brown is an interesting guy. I was listening to JJ on a podcast, I think his show with Kitchen last week, and he was talking about how he thought Chase Brown was one of the most undervalued players in early best ball right now, which I thought was interesting. Hadn't really heard that take. But he made a good point. I mean, he finished the season really strong last year once Joe Burrow came back, and it was, even with Flacco instead of, who was it? Browning was the guy who was a complete disaster for the Bengals last year. So once the offensive stabilized, Brown was really solid, very heavily used in the passing game. And I get he still has a little bit of this kind of dead zone-y profile. He was a day 3 pick, not like a talent that people are dead set on being like this amazing running back. But what is the argument for who he loses touches to this year? It's like Samaje Perine and Taj. Like, you can't make that argument. So it's really, I think, a strong bet on just the offensive environment if the Bengals kind of keep up what they did in the second half of the year last year.
Yeah, I think it was plenty justified to be super cautious before the NFL draft, like we have with him back-to-back years. And then it's like, all right, well, here we go. And they've shown a willingness to saddle him up with touches. If Perine's not any younger, I mean, yeah, let it rip. All right, on the clock here by ADP, Breece Hall, ETN, Olave, Tetaroya, Kerrane, T. Who do you like?
I like Breece here. Why don't we try a really hyper-fragile build, and that way we can load up on wide receivers and other positions in these mid rounds. But yeah, Breece, I mean, again, very different archetype he's almost like the exact opposite for Chase Brown in a way, where it's like, we feel good about the talent of who he is. It's like, can the Jets be functional this year? I don't know. I've been drafting a lot more Jets than feels comfortable right now, because you can squint and see how it works with like Geno and all the pieces they added, but at the end of the day, it's still Jets. It's still Aaron Glenn, and who's the offensive coordinator? It's what's his name?
Was this the guy we were joking around with?
Frank Reich is back, right?
Oh, Reich. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's not the most inspiring.
And you're one of the foremost contract fantasy football analyst contract bros. I mean, what does the new Breece Hall contract mean for his fantasy value?
I think I honestly haven't looked into it too much, but I think it is just a sign that they're committed to him long term. 3 years, up to $45 million. So I think, shooting from the hip here a little bit, I think that's kind of similar to what Kerrane got, maybe a little bit more.
Third
honestly,
highest paid running back now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's also like, you got to grade it on the Jets curve, and that they had so much money to spend. They basically gutted their roster. They had to give money to someone. And if you're going to signal to free agents that you are actually going to retain some talented players, like, you actually have to pay your stars at some point.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Igbuka, Burden, Evans, Henderson, Loveland, Scatabo, JMO. Who do you like?
I like Burden here. I think play the ADP game a little bit with some of the veterans. I mean, I can't just keep trying to draft the team that won me $2 million last year. So Burden's a good start for that.
There you go. I know it is funny. I feel like Adam and I have had similar draft slots. We keep drafting these like Pittsburgh stacks. You and me keep getting like Derrick Henry and Burden. So you know what? Until the schedule starts forcing some correlation concerns on us, we're just going to keep playing the hits.
Yeah. What have you thought? I put out a tweet or this weekend, actually, talking about like the Bucks players that go in this range. I've really struggled with like Bucky and Igbuka. I know he was top by ADP here. But I don't know. I guess like he had a very solid rookie season. I think I'm just thrown off by the way it ended, where he was like not even a full-time player in the Bucks offense. They were rotating, Jalen, McMillan, Godwin, and Evans like all ahead of him at certain points down the stretch. And this year, it's certainly cleared out with Evans gone. I know they added Hurts, but he should be a full-time player. I don't know. Someone brought up the fact that he did get injured. I guess I forgot that a little bit. He got injured with a hamstring, and then maybe he was just trying to fight through that, and that's why he was so inefficient down the stretch. I don't know. He's just a guy I've struggled with.
Yeah, let's put a quick pin in that. We're about to pick at 5-7. McLaurin is the slight faller here. Waddle, Lamar, Price, Watson.
Let's do Waddle.
We'll grab Jaden Waddle there. Yeah, no, I'm with you on the Igbuka stuff. It's funny, right? Because normally the rookie finishes the season strong, kind of like Burden, right? And then you pay the tax on it. We're paying the tax on Burden's or Igbuka's start of the season, and then he really flamed out. They add another wide receiver in the draft as well. Yes, Evans is gone, but it's like I do feel like we're owed like a little bit more of a discount relative on to win and how things played out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, I mean, you compare it with like the Brian Thomas thing. It's like kind of similar, just that it was over 2 seasons instead of like 1 half season, second half season. But it's like we're getting a huge discount on Thomas because he flamed out last year. But his like ceiling of what he did in his rookie season, I think, was higher than what we saw from Ibuka to start the year last year. So it's, I don't know, it's just interesting. I guess you're just paying like the second year tax in Ibuka, whereas like I guess once it gets to the third year with like a Doomsday, Marv, Brian Thomas, like you get a little bit more of a discount on those profiles, but it just seems like a little expensive relative to some of those other younger wide receivers.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think we've been taking Zay ahead of him, Burden ahead of him. I think we might have even taken JMO or thought about it. But yeah, the Igbuka price is tough. We do have Zach Lenars want you to react to another piece of news. Do you have opinions on Ameer Abdullah's impact on Bashel Tutin? Feels like our generation's Travis Homer.
Yeah, well, you guys all saw the Ameer Abdullah preseason run from about 8 years ago. So, I mean, that should definitely scare you off of Bashel. I didn't even see that. Did that just happen this morning?
Yes. Yeah. Within the past few hours. Tutin does go at pick 65. We're on the clock here by ADP. Marvin Harrison, Tyler Warren, Chuba. You got Hurts, Caleb, and May if you want to stack up. Alec Pierce, Lemon, Ramondre. What do you think?
I'm good with doing Marv here. If you're good with that.
Yeah. I have not taken much Marv, but man, Marv in the middle of the 6 sure feels a lot better than Marv at the 1-2 turn.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Arizona is so tough. Wilson or Marv. I think at cost I do like Wilson a little bit better. The thing with Marv, I guess it's like similar to Igbuka in some ways where he had the injuries down the stretch. I think there is a universe where when Brissett takes over, if Marv doesn't have the heel injuries and the concussions, he does the crazy Michael Wilson Linsanity run that we saw last year. I think basically in every game that they played together, Marv was still targeted ahead of Michael Wilson. Like it wasn't even particularly close when they were both playing. So I think Michael Wilson is good. He definitely put some good tape out last year, was, pretty effective in his role, but I still think we have the evidence that Marv is likely gonna be targeted over him. But now it's just like a crowded offense. Like Jeremiah Love, I think, is going to factor in much more in the passing game than the running backs did last year. Obviously, you have McBride there. I think Michael Wilson was good enough where they're going to have him in more of a role to start the season than he started last year. So things are just a little more fragmented, I think, in Arizona, and it might be tricky for these guys to get there in the passing game.
We start 3 running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Breece Hall. Come back with 3 wide receivers, Luther Burden, Jaden Waddle, Marvin Harrison. The one hole does go ahead and stack up Rome with Caleb Williams. We'll still have Bo Nix, potential Cardinals quarterback stuff to figure out here. But yeah, I mean, people have been worried about the Cardinals stuff with Carson Beck as well. So it's not even an easy stacking option.
Exactly.
All right, we're about to pick here. I do have the ETR ranks. We could go with the Sutton stuff and set up a double in Denver. Addison, Michael Wilson. You could set up the double in Arizona. Also Rico and Jalen Warren. Anything stand out?
I like Addison here, I think.
Yep.
I mean, the double in Denver, I think, makes some sense. I think giving ourselves another out for a stacking option with Kyler, I like too, given we don't have really another super viable one. So I like that.
All right, we got a couple questions in the chat here. Okay, this is a good one to stir up some controversy. Go Easy Cards wants to say, which BBM winning team had the best construction? Pat's, Liam's, or yours? To refresh people, both Pat's and Liam's were double anchor RB starts as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was the only one to win with Adam Thielen and Miles Sanders on the roster, and I
Yeah.
think that proves that the construction was the key factor because clearly the players weren't really doing a lot of heavy lifting on that team. It was just the roster construction. So I'm
That's
gonna go
right.
with my team.
And I think Liam's was 2 quarterbacks because did it have Allen? And then Pat's, of course, had the 3 quarterbacks with Brady and Daniel Jones.
Daniel
on it.
Jones,
Did you,
right? Yeah.
were you 2 or 3 quarterbacks?
I was 3. I had Bryce Young or Purdy. I took first, then Bryce Young, and then Tyler Shuck.
Yes.
Which that ended up being a huge feature of the roster because I think I checked. I needed both Shuck and Bryce Young to advance because Purdy was injured for like 7 weeks during the middle of the season last year.
Yeah.
And then obviously Purdy was a huge hammer down the stretch. So, yeah. 3 quarterbacks. I think that is like an underrated part of 3 quarterbacks is like quarterbacks just miss more time than people like really think about. And like, if you want to get one of these quarterbacks who misses a chunk of the season into the playoffs, like you're not really going to get it done with 2. I don't think it's just really, really tough to make that math work.
Yep. All right. About to pick at 8-6, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers by ADP, Harvey, Dart, Manungai, Rico, ETR ranks like Jacoby, Harvey, Laporta, Corum, Pittman. What do you like?
Is Lawrence gone?
He did go. Yep.
Okay. What about doing Purdy actually?
You're not going to beat the allegations of just trying to recreate your winning team here with the Purdy pick.
I know. I just felt like I didn't want to get boxed out of QB too much. But yeah, what were we gonna say?
No, I was going to say, in the way Pat used to famously, take Trevion or anyone on the Patriots to set up Drake May, you now take Brock Purdy just to set up the Dejon Stribling pick. That's the new meta.
Exactly. Yeah. You gotta, anytime you can get like a 24-year-old rookie wide receiver who everyone hates, you gotta do it.
I will say, this year, I guess both with like the Eagles and the Niners, these teams that used to be really hard to backstack because they had so many premium options. Pearsall, Kittle, Stribling, Kalen Black, if that's your flavor, like there's a decent ways you can build out a good backstack with the Niners.
I saw you wrote about George Kittle. Was that like a month ago as one of your favorite values?
Yeah.
Are you still feeling similar after the draft? Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously I'm not going to do like super thin 2 tight end builds with him, but how many tight ends can actually finish as like a top 3, top 4 spike week guy that go after pick 100 regularly? Kittle's done it over and over again. We know he's a dog if anybody can come back from this. And it's just like, I'll bide my time while Kittle's working his way back into form.
Yep.
All right, we're about to pick again. This draft is ripping. We do have Brock Purdy now as our quarterback. We could do the Pearsall. Ooh, Ben snipes us on Pearsall. Laporta, slight ADP faller. Pittman here. Bo Nix to stack up with Waddle potentially. What do you like? Kyler Murray as well with Addison.
Yeah, I like Nix here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I think Laporta would have been pretty good too. But I like getting the stack. And yeah, maybe this sets us up for Kittle a little bit later as well. Obviously, you could take both Laporta and Kittle, but yeah, good options.
Yeah, would you have gone Pearsall if he was there?
I would have gone Pearsall there. Yeah, that's why I was scrambling a little bit to come up with a backup. But yeah, Pearsall, we still have outs, and also Purdy is a guy. Again, not just trying to recreate my team from last year, but you did not need a stack for Purdy's 37-point game or whatever last year. He can rush for some touchdowns. So he's not a guy that I would love to stack him. Like, I think we'll get a single stack, but he's not like absolute must in a way that I think like, Stafford or guys like that are.
And I think that again is one of the benefits of the 3 quarterback stuff. Bryce Young had a lot of games like that last year too, where even when he hit his massive spike week, and I guess I'd have to go and look back, but there's plenty of scenarios where, Coker has 13, Tedoroy has 15, but Bryce goes for 30 because he rushes in. And it's like, yes, you can have some skinny stacks, but then maybe with the other stacks, build that out a bit more because you're going to need that correlation along the way.
Yep.
All right. So we have a 2-3-4. We got Brock, and Bo Nix at quarterback. We got those 3 early running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, up to 4 wide receivers, Luther Burden, Jalen Waddle, Marvin Harrison, and Jordan Addison. No tight ends yet, about to pick at 10-6. Dobbs falling a little bit, Shuck here as well. Otherwise, pretty tight as far as no ADP values in this draft.
Yeah. I might pull up Kittle a little bit here. He's not really, it's only 2 spots ahead of ADP. I think it's worth it getting the stack. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Like I liked your argument for Kittle. I think I am scared off by the Achilles, but I think it's fully priced in here. And I think the other thing is these Achilles. So this is to this comment, Jan 2026 Achilles tear. The return to play timelines for Achilles actually aren't that long. Like we've seen plenty of guys, like Aaron Rodgers is like the example. Sorry, I guess Cam Akers is like that famous example where he tore his Achilles in the preseason, I think, and then came back and played in the playoffs the same season, right? And then we also saw Kirk Cousins was a very late season Achilles tear. He started week 1 the next season with Atlanta. Now, was he any good? Was Akers any good? No, that is more the concern. It's like the effectiveness when they do come back. But in terms of Kittle being on the field, I think he's likely to be. And then the other thing is like we see these later career tight ends like Kelsey, you know, we've seen this for like the past couple of years. They're not really winning on athleticism. They're just winning on like really good feel with their quarterbacks, knowing the soft spots in the zone. Obviously, Kittle is a guy who's been like a huge yak guy, freak athlete. You do have some concern he loses some efficiency off the Achilles, but I think he can still like get the job done and just knowing the system, knowing where to be on the field in a way that, you know, losing athleticism doesn't make him go to 0. So we'll see.
Back on the clock here at 126. There's Gadsden. This could be a prime time for a Gainwell, Jordan Mason selection. Also some other strong tight end options. Kelsey, Andrews. What do you think?
I like Mason.
Yep. Yeah, we already have Addison. Let's grab Jordan Mason. We can maybe think through our quarterback plan. I guess, yeah, how do you feel about Purdy Nick? Should we be looking out for a third?
I think like Geno, because we have Breece, makes some sense. In general, I think I would like to tack on a third here, but I don't think we need to force it.
Yeah,
is kind of how I feel.
This is where, like, I do think we're kind of in a new era of how we think about the 2 quarterbacks versus 3. I think by pure draft capital spent, you know, historically we'd be like, oh yeah, you're good. 8th, 9th round quarterback. But like you said, the injury rates for the quarterbacks, the benefits of additional stack outs, the benefits for having a unique player once you advance through the BBM gauntlet. Like if we make it with Brock Purdy and Bo Nix, they're both probably going to have good weeks along the way, which is going to mean they're overly represented by the field in that week 16 or week 17 pod.
Yep. For sure.
But the quarterback options from here on out are so uninspiring that it's also makes it easy to bypass it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Go ahead. Oh no, I was just going to recap: 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end.
Got it. Yeah, Omar Cooper, I guess, coming up here makes some sense in this build.
Wait, Sam, don't say another word. Breaking news. Please do not talk and interrupt this, Sam. Steelers reached agreement, 4 years, $28 million extension for kicker Chris Boswell. Your reaction live on Best Ball Breakfast.
I mean, I just don't think you can draft the Steelers running backs anymore. They're going to have way more confidence in their kicker. They're not going to be going for it on 4th down. You know, it's just going to be field goals in Pittsburgh.
That's how I know you can tout. You got to be able to spin every single nugget of news into an actionable fantasy takeaway. We're back on the clock. Jauan Jennings, Kenyon Sadiq, top solver suggestions. Likely Darnold, Stroud, Shaheed, Diggs.
Let's do Shaheed, I think.
Yep.
Gadsden, I think. I get he's the ADP value. It feels like a fake ADP value, though. Still. And maybe Darnold comes all the way around. That could be an interesting pick. I just think Shaheed's a talented, like the midseason trade stuff is hard to read last year. He obviously wasn't used, but I think he is still a really good player from what we saw in New Orleans. And if they paid him that much, I think they must have plans to scale him up this year. But we'll see. We'll see.
I also liked it just in that there was a chance Darnold came back to
Yeah.
us. I mean, he was sliding already, so maybe you go Darnold first or whatever, but we're also trying to build out this wide receiver room, so I probably have to go Shaheed there, even though Darnold goes.
Yep. Yeah, and a bunch of the quarterbacks I was interested, like Daniel Jones and Darnold both would have made sense. The team stacks, we lose those guys. I think we're looking at I think I would like to tack on Geno to this build again. I don't think we need to force it like ahead of ADP though. So we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see what falls to us.
I am going to create this as a formal poll here. Are you fading Steelers running backs post Boswell news? 1 is yes, I'm terrified. 2, no, a rising tide lifts all boats. 1 for the fade, 2 for the no. Steelers running backs post Boswell news. Here's our team, Sam. Purdy and Bo Nix, Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, and Jordan Mason. Wide receivers, Luther Burden, Jalen Waddle, Marvin Harrison, Jordan Addison, and Rashid Shaheed. Tight end, George Kittle. We do now get the epic Gadsden slide from 119 to 150. This room has Roto World noties on Hunter Henry, Brenton Strange. It does like tight ends here. Diggs, Jonah Coleman, Sharbs. What else do you like?
I mean, it might look stupid, but I'm okay with the Gadsden here at 150, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean,
is that 145? That's the ETR rank.
The new ETR rank, yeah.
New ETR rank, yeah.
Yep. All right, so we get Gadsden on there, and we're still probably getting a third tight end in this room, so we can, we have some of these boring guys, Henry, Strange, Johnson, Hawkinson, Otten, Schultz, so yeah, we'll be fine there. As far as thinking through the quarterback stuff, it basically is, like, would you ever do, like, an 18th round Carson Beck on a team like this?
I don't think so. Again, like the Tyler Shuck pick worked last year, which is what my hesitation is because like it's not that different of a situation if you zoom out. I just think that Brissett is more of a hurdle than Spencer Rattler was. Yeah, I think it's just too fancy for a guy who's got a good chance of being on the bench all season and doesn't have like the rushing upside in the way that like Shuck had a little bit in his profile too. So I don't know though, man. Like I look at these 18th, like people ask questions like that, and I'm like, I look at some of the 18th round like running backs and wide receivers that you're taking, and it's like who, whatever. Take Carson back, I guess, because it's not like any of those guys are locks to do anything. It's tough.
Yeah, let's make this pick, and then I think it's still an interesting thought experiment here.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what we're gonna do here. We got a 2-4-5-2. We're on the clock. Brenton Strange, Denzel Boston. Yeah, sorry. Antonio Williams, Brian Robinson. We've been going to a good bit here. Who do you like?
I think I like Boston here.
Yeah, let's get another wide receiver, our rookie here. I did want to just pull up this comment because I generally agree with this sentiment, but copy paste says, what do you win when you win with Beck? 12 points in week 17, maybe 15 ceiling. This would be my counter. What you win is a unique differentiator in week 17 when there's not a lot of Carson Beck teams. He might actually have more of a ceiling than we think. We're often wrong about these quarterback evaluations. We took Marvin Harrison with a fairly top pick. If we do agree with the thesis Carson Beck is going to be starting, and we're going to need our third wide receiver drafted to have ceiling potential that week, we're going to want those to hit in tandem anyways. We're going to need Carson Beck to be good to bring Marvin Harrison along to a tournament winning score. So I think it takes some imagination for sure, but just like purely structurally what we're trying to do in these tournaments, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also the point, like, just, helping your other quarterbacks advance is a huge reason to take 3 quarterbacks. And, it's always weird, like predicting how that's going to shake out before the season. But again, one of your quarterbacks gets hurt for a couple weeks or you're bye weeks stack up on the same week or whatever it might be, quarterbacks just tend to add a lot of points to the roster. I think that's what like a lot of the sims are showing. Why leg up recommends 3 quarterbacks a lot of the time.
And I think how the way I'll play it is I do agree. I don't think I want to be taking Carson Beck even in this context. However, if we start to see the odds move on when Carson Beck's going to start, if that starts shifting from like, week 12 to now it's week 8 to week 5, it could tilt there where those points, those raw points you're talking about, become more bankable. And then he becomes a more obvious late selection.
Are we going to have a shot at, is Geno still around or did he get scooped early here?
He got scooped. So we're looking at Mendoza, Rodgers, Tua, Watson, Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
Brandon Ayuk's here, Barner, Debo, Nicholas Singleton, Quick.
Let's do Ridley.
All right. We'll grab Calvin Ridley here as our 7th wide receiver. What do you think about this running back room? Shut it down here with Taylor, Brown, Breece, and Mason?
That's what I was kind of thinking. I think I would have liked the Brian Robinson pick, but with him gone, now I kind of struggle to see the value in a 5th running back with who's left here.
Yeah.
Let's see who else is out there. I guess Emmett Johnson could be somewhat interesting here. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts. Do you think this is good with 4 on this build?
I think so. We have 3 more picks. We are going to have a couple of luxury picks, or I think we're for sure doing a 3rd tight end with just Kittle and Gadsden.
Yeah.
We already talked about how tricky it is to find a 3rd quarterback that makes sense. That leaves 2 more selections here. One of them could for sure be a wide receiver because we did kind of go hyper fragile, but then that last pick, I think you're either looking at running back 5 or QB3.
Yep. And I mean, we might get sniped on this, but I think if I had a little bit more time to think about it, Rodgers or Mendoza could have been interesting there too. I know Mendoza is pretty tough to backstack unless you're getting really gross. Rodgers, you can do Freiermuth or Darnell Washington. Rodgers just goes, so that's relevant now. But yeah, maybe we do. Yeah, maybe one more with the quarterbacks basically wiped out, and I don't think we're gonna go the back route. Maybe aiming for one of. I mean, the other disgusting thing is, do you talk about Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders?
I know. It's like a very similar dynamic. With even, although Deshaun Watson is a way less inspiring version of Jacoby Brissett. Why don't you want to think about tight end here? There's a few decent ones like Helm, Stowers, Freiermuth, Njoku's now obviously on the radar. Any of these stand out to you?
Yeah, I like Helm or Freiermuth for this build, given we are a little bit fragile with the routes for the other 2 guys. I think I'd go Helm. What do you think?
Yeah, it's close. ETR slightly higher on Freiermuth, but I do think, I was talking about it a little bit with Darnell Washington with Adam, and I know the leg up sims are really liking Darnell Washington. You've been getting him a lot. That'll be an interesting one to see how we play that over the course of the summer.
Yep. Yeah, and I know the ETR guys are also like a big part, at least as I understand it, a big part of why Jeremy Bernard is so high is they're projecting a ton of 3 wide receiver sets. That makes it tricky if, you think Darnell Washington might be the tight end in those 3 wide receiver sets because he's more of the blocker inline guy versus Freiermuth. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one to watch out for.
And it's kind of like we know who Pat Freiermuth is. I think he's solid. He's fine. He's certainly in that Dalton Schultz, Kate Otten ass mold. We still haven't quite seen what fully unleashed Darnell Washington looks like. I mean, even being able to dream on like full-time Darnell Washington is like a pretty fun thing to dream on.
Yeah. And he's just, he's such a ridiculous player to watch. They were getting him some like design touches and stuff last year, and seeing like a small corner try to tackle Darnell Washington is just absolute cinema. So I hope we see more of that next year.
I think we did Pat Bryant last time we had the Bo Nix thing too. I think he's perfectly viable. Cup, Kayshon Boutte. We do have some of these running backs here as well. Braylon Allen, Tucker, P. Ryan, Justice Hill, Ty Johnson, Vomit. What do you like?
Yeah. I might actually go Tucker as just the last running back that I really think is like draftable. I think it's an interesting setup. Like Kerrane actually sold me a bit on Tucker. Like he could just be the goal line back. If you look at Kenny Gainwell, Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, it's not crazy that he has like Chris Rodriguez-esque value right out of the gate as just like the goal line back, or at least like, 60% goal line back, something like that. And then you're an injury away from contingent upside, I think, with either Gainwell or Bucky. In my opinion, I don't think either of those guys project as like full-on workhorses if one of the other ones went down. So I think it's a sneaky combo of maybe some standalone bank a touchdown role plus like some contingent upside there.
Yeah, I do like that thought. If you can just lock in, 3 to 4 touchdowns, and then you get that kind of late season, one of those guys is banged up and you get kind of a 15-point kind of week from him in a meaningful playoff week. I mean, again, the bar for these guys to clear to pay off this round draft cost is pretty low.
Yep. I like the Pat Bryant thought too, to round things out if he's still around. That one, it's not clean, but I think they liked him enough as a rookie. I don't know what else we would consider here.
I put Kalen Black and Jordan James in the queue just because we have a Brock Purdy team.
Sure.
But otherwise, I think Pat Bryant is the most logical for sure.
Yep. Honestly, Deshaun Watson was my only other thought, but I think I would go Pat Bryant over Deshaun.
I mean, by all means, get your Deshaun Watson shares on my.
No, I think I got to do that in the privacy of my own home versus something in public. I mean, I honestly just don't even believe that. I don't believe the Deshaun Watson thing is going to last, even if that's their plan to start the season. It's been such a disaster. Take the off-field, take the injury stuff away. Just purely him on a field as a player has been like such a disaster that I can't see it lasting.
For sure. And that's what I brought up with Levitan, where it's like, it seems like the team is very committed to having Deshaun Watson be week 1 starter, and great, but there will be a mutiny and a revolt if he's as bad as he was last time. Like, they will not be able to continue trotting him out there if he's anything resembling what we last saw. So then he's in the same territory as all these other guys where it's like, okay, even if you nail week 1 start, is he actually giving us points when it matters?
Yeah.
I
agree.
There you go. All right. Here's the team. We're going to recap it. I think pretty clean draft. Might have been nice to get a third QB, but we didn't force it here. Brock Purdy and Bo Nix at quarterback. We have 5 running backs: Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, Jordan Mason, and Sean Tucker. Our wide receivers here, we got up to 8: Luther Burden, Jalen Waddle, Marvin Harrison, Jordan Addison, Rashid Shaheed, Denzel Boston, Calvin Ridley, Pat Bryant. A lot of spike week hunting with that wide receiver room. And then 3 tight ends: Kittle, please get healthy; Oronde Gadsden, please not be impacted by David Njoku; Gunnar Helm, please catch balls from Cam Ward. That's all I have. What do you think?
No, I agree on the 3 quarterback thing. I think being constructive, trying to critique what we just did. I think if I did it over, it might have been that pick where we had a shot on Aaron Rodgers or Mendoza. I think there I probably would have liked Rodgers, and then we could have done the Freiermuth thing, whatever. And then I think we could have stopped at either 4 running backs or 7 wide receivers. But I think that third quarterback probably was a little bit better than the extra like flex piece that we ended up getting.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking. So when we took like Gadsden in Boston, and I guess that is just something I keep realizing when I do these drafts, even when I feel gross taking the quarterback, 15 spots ahead of ADP, I've almost never regretted it. I'm losing value, but you go back and you're like, well, who would you have taken otherwise?
Exactly. I do think it's very like Purdy Nix is very like borderline case 2, where I think it's totally like we didn't do something wrong by taking 2 quarterbacks, but I think it's just like you said, like, once you get to the Boston, Ridley, whatever range, you're not really, you can get another wide receiver there later. That's not that different from the wide receivers you're taking there, and it's probably worth just like securing the quarterback points in that spot.
So here's the question for you. So we picked Shaheed at 138. Ward was just off the board. You really have these 4 guys who immediately come off that you feel pretty good about starting 17 games. Darnold, Jones, Stroud, Young. Which one of those do you think lends itself best to the selection for our team? And I guess in general, like building out a backdoor stack, essentially.
Yeah. I think it comes down to probably Darnold or Daniel Jones for me, because I think with Darnold, I do like both the Barner and Cooper Kupp back stacks. I think I like that more than any of the late wide receivers you can do on the Colts, Texans, or Panthers. I group Daniel Jones in there just because we have Jonathan Taylor, and I think true. Like part of the bet on Taylor is just Daniel Jones is competent this year. I don't think if you have Taylor, you don't want them turning to Anthony Richardson or what's his name, Riley Leonard. So I think it's just a little bit of team correlation there that makes sense on this build.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think if the chips weren't flying as fast as they were, kind of advocating for Jones there with that Taylor correlation. And then we don't have to see if we go Darnold first, it's probably unlikely Shaheed's coming back, considering Jennings and Tucker went before we picked next as well. So Jones is probably the prudent pick there. Yep.
I agree with that. But yeah, it'll be interesting too on the Gadsden pick to see how, that'll be a fun one to revisit a month from now and see where that value closes on that pick. Because obviously we're doing a little bit of firing from the hip reaction to news right now.
I'm going to lobby this to you because Austin says, believe any of this Anthony Richardson hype. If that has not come across my desk, have I missed puff pieces on Anthony Richardson, Sam?
I have not seen the Anthony Richardson hype. Maybe that's like where the TikTok best ball creators
are in on him.
And we're just completely missing that. But yeah, I thought it was like they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. That's the latest news I saw on him, and I thought it was like they were trying to trade him. But yeah, love to see the hype if it exists. Someone pointed out to me.
Here's the review from Ben, who I believe drafted his first team of the year, got about 2.5 good snipes in, built a dog shit team, had fun, good use of $25. There you go. Yeah, Ben, a noted Bears fan, was lamenting he got sniped on Burden, 1 pick before by us, and then he got sniped on Loveland, 1 pick by Bitcoin on the other side. So he was miserable from the get-go.
Just getting squeezed. Got the Bowers. I didn't see the Bowers Loveland bully tight end, but I guess that was a pretty big fall for Loveland. That's an interesting construction there.
Man, yeah, you're right. And then, yeah, someone actually pointed this Bitcoin team out. Does get the Drake May with AJ Brown along with Ramondre. I guess the question on a team like this is they did go 0 RB. So Stevenson, Monungai, Corum, Bill, Pacheco, Kamara, Mike Washington. So they threw volume at it. And then are the wide receivers strong enough? JSN, AJ Brown, Evans. So 3 up top, didn't get their next one until round 16. That could be the Achilles heel. The quarterbacks are fine. May, Willis, Darnold. Tight ends are jacked up. You could probably, oh man. I mean, what do you think about that build? Is that viable?
Yeah. I think the wide receivers, I mean, anything can work. If you hit on those late route, like Debo signs in a good spot and Malik Washington is the Dolphins wide receiver 1 or whatever, it can work if all those guys stay healthy, but I think you're leaving yourself very, very thin there at wide receiver. I guess the argument is like Colson Loveland and Brock Bowers, like one of those 2 guys is filling my flex every week. So right. I just need like fewer wide receivers, but I think there you gotta probably mix in another, guy around pick 100, like a Addison or Pittman or whatever, one of those types to like balance it out a little bit. But interesting team.
It is. It's fun to experiment too and just see how much you can push some of these positions. I think this landscape is just so punishing in those last 4 rounds where tight ends are some of the best picks late, that if you've used that up and you're forced to catch up at quarterback, at running back, you're really in tough shape.
Yeah. Speaking of, I got to jump here in a minute, but last thing, and maybe we can think about this next time. I do think the 4 tight end stuff is like particularly interesting this year, just with, I think in past years it's been like, oh, I felt really good about some wide receiver values late, or I felt really good about some like at least some clear-cut running back handcuffs late, or some late quarterbacks. This year it's like I feel horrible about quarterback, running back, and wide receiver late. And I think on certain builds, if you don't get any good values in tight ends early, and then you just close out your team with 4 tight ends in the last 5 rounds or something like that, I think it's an interesting strategy, because I think those tight ends actually have higher chances of hitting your flex than like the running backs and wide receivers in that range do. Like a Mike Gesicki or Kate Alton just projects better than the running backs and wide receivers down there. And then like, we've just seen the late round tight end stuff work out so well. So anyways, interesting thought for next time. I do think the 4 tight end thing is somewhat intriguing this year.
Yeah, because those tight ends you mentioned, do they have a low floor? Absolutely, but all of them do. But they have a much how to even word this? They're much less likely to be a stone cold 0 compared to a lot of the other positions. Like they're going to be on the field, probably give you 2 to 3 points, and if you bink the touchdown and you cobble together Frankenstein that tight end room, then you're cooking.
Yep, 100%.
All right, Sam. Let the people know, some of the other big meetings you're taking in LA this week, as well as the rest of the content schedule.
Yeah. I got a big meeting at the airport coming up in a couple hours. Won't give away the details there, but I am on every week this stream, and then Thursdays at 5:30 with Pat, the That's Fair stream on the legendary Upside channel. So you can, find me there. And Pete, look forward to doing this next week when we have the schedule out. That should be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun to have that on tap. We are going to let Sam get going. And for the first time this year, I am not going to forget our next guest intro. We'll see you next time, Sam. Peace. Scuba Kerrane, Patty Millions, Peacock Pat Kerrane on the 1s and 2s.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
98 yards to the fucking house against Carolina in week 10.
All right. Shout out to producer Mark. We had Brandon in the chat. People were not going to let me forget, Pat, what we were going to tee you up with this time.
No, I appreciate it. The intro. Usually the intro is like we do a kind of a cold open.
Yes.
Then we do the intro.
Yes, the cold open that comes classically 3 hours into the stream, to rehook. I did do a poll when Levitan was on of like how many hours of the 4-hour best ball breakfast do most people consume. Unsurprisingly, the people who were live in the chat engaged were in the majority of 3 to 4 hours consumed, very few less than 1 hour, and then a few in the 2 to 3 hour range. So if you're here, it means you're probably in it for the long haul, Pat. Yeah,
appreciate it. I mean, I'd be curious what the starting time is, or people, because there'd be some people who come a little, maybe even a couple 2 hours, they might catch the middle. There might be middlers out there. There might be some late people, might be early people.
No, I think there's all kinds of varieties. There could be that you just pop in live because you want to watch live and then you piece together what you missed. There's also people who I know start from the beginning and will watch at like 2x speed to try to catch up. They'll speed
I do that
run
sometimes. If I catch a live and I'm like, I can get to live. If I go 2x, I'll do that.
There you go. And then I sound like this. But we've all been there. I can't do the, I forget I think it was our buddy Matthew Friedman who once revealed to me, Pat, that he has pushed 3x on podcasts.
Friedman has been he's like a pioneer of fast listening. Like I feel like before all the apps even had it, he was finding apps that would let him push the limits of sound.
Exactly. All right, let's real quick before we get underway. I've been obviously asking everybody their thoughts on the Njoku news. Do you guys have any updates from the leg up ranking cabal chat?
Yeah, so I mean, basically both guys, Gadsden and Njoku, dropped a little bit for us. Where, I think it's not a great signing for Njoku because we think Gadsden can play, and Gadsden will be the lead guy. I think over the course of the season, maybe Njoku could emerge and become like the starter, but I don't think that's particularly likely. I think Gadsden's pretty solid. And Njoku, he gets a 1-year deal. It took him a while to get the 1-year deal. Didn't seem like a ton of teams were all that interested. He obviously lost his starting job last year in Cleveland. So I think he's more of like, it could be better than like Noah Fant was last year for sure. But I mean, you definitely have to be thinking about him in those kind of terms, I think. And then Gadsden, it just kind of reiterates that whether it's Kolar or Njoku, like they probably don't plan to have him in like a full-time role like he was for, the cool part of last year. So I still think he has upside because he could be kind of, the Darren Waller type dude in the Mike McDaniel system. And he might not need Jalen Waddle had like 80% route participation and was doing great. Tyreek Hill was always his routes are always lower than you would have thought. And while he was absolutely crushing. So I think Gadsden under McDaniel can still be pretty good at tight end, even with limited route participation. But this signing definitely confirms that, or it makes it very, very likely he'll have limited route participation to some degree.
And I'll say this, I mean, Sam and I just took him in the draft. We did. Obviously, he opened today up with an ADP of 119. We got him in the 150s. Like, drafters are already...
I'm all about that.
Yeah, just completely. And I had said to Adam initially, I was like, hey, if you're a big Gadsden guy, just chill out this week because he will drop on the news and then you can get cheap Gadsden. But I was surprised to see how reactive some of these rooms already are.
I wonder if we even see that. That seems wild to me. Like, I don't.
Too much overcounting?
Yeah. Like, I think Gadsden, Njoku's most likely washed. And everything about the way the NFL treated him this offseason would say they agree. So I'm not super worried about Gadsden, but if you're going to give me a little discount, I bet that we take it. Gadsden was in this weird range where, like, the inputs we had on him, I was expecting us to be more into him in the sidekick, to be honest. But then he's just in this pocket where quarterbacks, if you need a running back, it's like you got to get the running back because it gets even worse later. Receiver's not such a priority there, but the tight end, it's like there's other tight ends that we like in that range too. So it wasn't always, we have a lot of Mahomes, so Kelsey's right in that range. There's like lots of reasons that another player might actually be the better pick than Gadsden where he was going, but we liked him. Now we like him a little bit less, but I think relative to the market will be a lot higher than we were. And he's going to fall to a range where it's like the opportunity cost, like a quarterback, now that window's over. Running back's getting really thin. Wide receiver, there's a few guys we like, down in like the 150s, but kind of 135 to 145. That, yeah, I don't know. I bet we end up in on Gadsden, depending on how far he falls.
Yeah, and I start to, I haven't loved the Lad price personally, but now you start to get into territory with some of these Herbert backstacks that look pretty intriguing. I mean, if you're going to get Gadsden and Trey Harris and you just play it through the cheapest options, a spread out offense, new upgrade with McDaniel, like that starts to look pretty nice. I was watching, I caught some of you and Eric talking about your favorite picks. Was it you or Eric who had Herbert as one of your favorites?
Herbert. Yeah. Eric had Herbert. Yeah. I had Mahomes but I really like Herbert too. So I'm with you on that. I think, yeah, he becomes easier to backstack. The other potential shoe to drop here would be Keenan Allen signing, which could obviously happen, and it could happen late. Like, it could happen in August, because he just might not want to deal with training camp and stuff. That would be a bit of a bummer. And something that would like affect our outlook on Gadsden a bit. So I don't know. I mean, that's just something to keep in mind. If you're like convinced that he's signing there, then Gadsden's like a worse pick than we currently have it. We think there's a chance he signs, obviously, but it's not like it's locked in stone.
Yeah, I mean, we're finally getting some of these dominoes. Jauan Jennings signed, what was that, over the weekend? Did you guys make any adjustments on him?
Honestly, not a ton, but I think it affects Hawkinson. It made Hawkinson a little bit, and that was the biggest change I think we made. Actually, was Hawkinson dropped a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jennings was kind of like we had him sort of priced like this, like landing somewhere where he probably wasn't going to get. Like once San Francisco was off the board, we lowered him, and then this was probably it's decent enough spot here.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it enough. It just, to me, I was kind of hoping Jennings would go somewhere where the volume would be a little more evident. Like you go to Washington, obviously that's kind of a nutted spot, but where you could theoretically challenge.
How pissed would Brandon Ayuk be
there?
if he did the Washington deal? Where do you get your ideas, Jauan?
Jeez. I know. All right. We're in a Best Ball Mania draft, my 22nd of the year already, with Pat Kerrane from Legendary Upside. We are picking at 110 here. Looks like we got some badge bros. My final draft probably before the NFL schedule is released. So this will be one last chance to be a purist, Pat, and draft the best players.
Sweet.
Before we can just throw everything out the window and only correlate for week 17. All right. About to be on the clock here. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, our top available. Genty also here. Who do you like?
Probably Jefferson or Lamb.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do Jefferson. Kind of a nice spot to get the elite wide receiver, knowing that there's probably going to be a running back available at 15 as well. I thought I had the sidekick up. I don't know where it went here. Here we go. Let's see here. Before as this gets loaded, Kenneth Walker, Drake London, Omarion Hampton. You got a favorite here?
Probably Walker.
Yeah. Yep. Walker right at ADP there. Are you a little hesitant on him in general, or do you like that price?
Try refreshing the page here and see if that fixes
Okay.
this. We've had an issue where occasionally it'll take longer than it should to give you the re-login.
Mm-hmm.
It'll work eventually.
Yeah, I'll keep working on it. But yeah, thoughts on Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, Kenneth Walker. I mean, I'm not as excited as I think a decent amount of people are on Kenneth Walker. I'm not like as convinced he's gonna smash even on the Chiefs, but you do have to give him credit for becoming more of a consistent runner. He's still like a little boom bust, but he's not as bad as he was. The offense desperately needs a explosive element just generally, and I think out of the run game it could be really big for them. And then like long term, this season, like once Mahomes is back, they're not gonna have to worry about Walker being like the focal point of opposing defensive game plans. So I think Walker's like, even as a boom bust runner, this is an awesome spot for him,
Oh, for sure.
So I do think, and then he came in the league as like a horrible receiving prospect, and he's gotten to the point where like he's equivalent to the Josh Jacobs-y type of guy. Like he's not, or like, kind of these guys that can do it. It's not a strength, but it's not like a huge weakness. So I think he's a decent enough type of play there. Like I get why he's going there. And then just with the way that the landscape breaks out right now, it's just helpful to have running back, like really solid running back. So with the wide receiver tier break there, which I think is pretty evident, pretty clear after Jefferson and Lamb and Amon-Ra go, there's a pretty big tier break at wide receiver. After that tier, I'm happy to go Walker there.
And it is such like, you think back to what sunk Walker, in Seattle for so long, was just their insistence to use him in a committee. Like the Chiefs just do not have the horse. They do not have a Zach Charbonnet. Like, they're going to be forced to give him the ball in a way where I think the volume will help us justify this cost for him.
Right.
All right. We are about to pick at 310. We have Kenneth Walker and Justin Jefferson to start. By ADP, Josh Allen, ETN goes. Kerrane, by ranks, Higgins, Tedoroy, Garrett Wilson. Kerrane, who do you like here?
Wilson would be good here. Flowers, I know we like here. But yeah, I'm happy with probably one of the receivers.
Yes. Yeah, we grab Garrett Wilson there. Looks like your ranks slightly higher on Higgins and Tedoroy. I assume those guys are all pretty close for you.
They're all very close. I'm actually blocking Higgins, so I didn't see that he was there. So Higgins probably would have been who I said.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's fine. I honestly do think Higgins, Flowers, Wilson, McMillan are all pretty close. So
I'm working on it here. Higgins comes back. Let me make sure I get the cue. So
let's do Higgins.
See who's here. Yeah. That's so funny. One of those classic spots where you like reach for the guy for uniqueness purposes, and then the other guy comes back and you have the exact same functional start. So Kenneth Walker, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins here. I would say compared to some of our other drafts, a little bit more wide receiver heavy. Normally I feel like with the sidekick, and granted we're working on getting that up. But normally we're a little more running back heavy here.
Yeah. If you right click it in the bar, Pete, and click manage extension and see if the permissions are on for everything. If you just scroll down. Permissions and data, if you click that there next to details. So it looks like they're on. Yeah,
I'll just put these all on. Yeah.
All right.
Here we go.
Like I said, it's been kind of a thing where it'll eventually, probably right around the 18th round, you should have
All right, there you go. Well, I'll keep checking with it here. But we start Kenneth Walker, Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins. Have you been drafting BBMs, or have you been doing like time box stuff?
Mostly the time box stuff and mostly slows. But I have done a couple. I did the Frenchie 2, which I missed the Frenchie 1. I'm already not a completionist on underdog, you know?
You're not. I thought you are completely okay with slow drafting these time box contests.
I am, but I mean the Frenchie's fast only, I think.
Okay.
At least the Frenchie 2 was. So I got my Frenchie done on Friday. But yeah, I've been mostly slow drafting right now. I think, I was tempted to do a BBM the other day, but I was like, the schedule's so close.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm actually, I meant to tell you guys, I'm not going to be here the following Wednesday when we would typically do our mnemonic device show on ship chasing. So you guys might have to run that without me, and I might have to send in some suggestions. I know your guys' crew will be in the lab for that as well.
Well, we'll be here on Monday, so maybe we can float some stuff.
Yeah, you're right. We can workshop that, and that's always a fun time of the year. We got 1 running back, 3 wide receivers here. I do have the leg up rankings in here as well.
Who's the top guy?
It's Bayshell Tout here.
Okay.
Yeah. By ADP.
I'm trying to look under.
I know. It's funny because the solver widget pushes these down a little bit, and then this one's just slightly obscured, but I promise I will work on that. Tout and Lamar, Tyler Warren, Jordan Tyson, Swift by rank. ADP's Lamar, Swift, Tootin.
Tootin went, yeah. Let's go Tootin. Let's go Tootin.
Yeah, we can
Sorry,
get
I thought
Tootin
Tootin
here.
went.
You're not afraid of Ameer Abdullah signing with the Jags today. Did you see that news?
I'm not afraid, Pete.
Zach Lenars was in the chat earlier saying it was very Travis Homer-esque, what it could mean for his value.
Yeah, how will we ever recover? Lamar in the 6th here seems pretty good.
I was gonna say, normally you take Lamar early 4th and you just pray Lamar comes back. We don't have him, but we get Lamar at 63. That's nice.
Yeah, Zay Flower. Yeah, we were in that pocket where you could get Flowers, but I think it's fine. You could always get Andrews later. Also, Lamar, does a lot of it with his legs, so we should be okay. But I mean, the main thing is Lamar in the 6th round, dude. Lamar, I don't understand the price difference between Allen and Lamar here. And then, even if you want to say, well, Lamar was not so great last year. I mean, Allen had his issues too, frankly, but Daniels hasn't gone yet. May hasn't gone. May was out producing Allen down the stretch. Hurts. I mean, has so much touchdown outside. So
yeah, it must just is it just Allen has such a good fantasy football name brand as the quarterback one. Maybe just they were in the playoffs and the Ravens weren't? Out of sight, out of mind, recency bias? I don't know. It seems like a huge gap, an unjustified gap to me, as you see Josh Allen go at pick 36 here and Lamar at 63.
I think part of it is like Lamar. Like I have Lamar and I started him over May in a guillotine league and got chopped. So like there is kind of like, Lamar did some stuff like, against the Bengals, right? He completely flopped late in the year. And it was like, oh, he's healthy, don't worry. And then it's like, so I think Lamar does make people more nervous than he used to. He's getting older. They changed the OC. Harbaugh's gone. Like you could paint a picture of like Lamar's not Lamar anymore. What I really struggle with though, like I was saying, is like fine, but like Daniels, Burrow, Hurts, May, like these guys all have pretty similar upside to Allen. And Allen wasn't Allen at the end of last year either. So why does he get a pass? That's the part of it that I don't get. Like, I'm okay, actually, if you want to say, like, I don't really feel comfortable taking a quarterback until the 5th round this year. Like, I don't either. But why is the one guy going in the 3rd or even higher?
Yeah. I wonder if there too, I was like, what were the rushing touchdown differences last year? I do think there's this sense of, and probably based in reality, that Josh Allen's going to get way more goal line touchdown opportunities compared to someone like Lamar.
Yeah, perhaps. I think the thing that's tough for Allen is that he's like, with Joe Brady, there is like a level of the offense kind of like, we know the offense is going to function. It's not like there's a floor baked into him with Brady. Like he's been in that system a while. He'll be all right. But it's hard for me. Like Brady's clearly not the guy to be like maximizing Allen, because he does. First of all, they don't pass very much. So how do you maximize the quarterback without passing? Like it's just a bit of a limiter on Allen. So I don't know. I mean, who's the top here?
Yeah, sorry. So the one running back, Jalen Warren. Then we have, Jalen Warren's here right at ADP. There's the 4 quarterbacks: Fannin, Jacoby, Addison.
I think we go Warren.
Yeah, get our 3rd running back here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are. I think I saw a rank of 69. Nice. We get him at pick 82. I think ETR's on the other side of it, going to Rico first, but just life, death, taxes, and Jalen Warren versus some other running back debates.
Yeah, I mean, Dowdle's been a guy for me too, but I think Warren is. I think they're both pretty solid bets. I think Warren's the better bet. I'd actually probably be Mahomes here, I think, and just get quarterback taken care of.
Mahomes, and we do have Walker as well. I know you've been doing a lot of 3 quarterback builds. Do you think you'd be done with Lamar and Mahomes, or still interested in a 3rd potentially?
Lesson from the sim seems to be, if a 3rd quarterback falls in your lap and you're like pulling up some wide running back or wide receiver that you don't believe in, then just take the quarterback. But like basically, if you get a chance to add additional points at quarterback, the fact that you're already probably going to score a lot of points at quarterback shouldn't dissuade you from just like crushing at quarterback if you're given that opportunity. But obviously it's much less of a priority now. And I would anticipate that we do just stop at 2.
Yeah. Yep. And the only other name that was kind of interesting was Addison. We obviously had Justin Jefferson, so you could build something out there. But we got the 2 quarterbacks, Lamar and Mahomes, the 3 running backs, Walker, Tout, and Warren, 3 wide receivers, Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, and T. Higgins. So feel strong at those positions.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to be, to build out at some additional depth at receiver. The issue that you have when you get kind of in that range with Warren and Mahomes is that receivers like not very there's not a lot of valuable picks there at receiver. Mm-hmm. And so you could do a Myers. Myers, I think, is okay. I think Addison was already kind of a tough click before the Jennings signing. I've been hoping he'd fall a little bit, but he hasn't fallen a ton. Downs, I like Downs a lot, and I was hoping he would come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of Downs, like if I was really desperate at receiver, I'd probably just take Downs there. That I like really believe in him, but I don't think we are desperate. We just want a little more depth.
And I mean, we've seen this too, where it's like all of the most intriguing options late are wide receivers, maybe tight end with a close second. But if you want to have one position that you're trying to recover at, you certainly want it to be wide receiver, because you're in trouble if you're recovering at some of those other ones.
Yeah. And there is like a don't fall too far behind thing, but I think we're okay there.
I'm going to put the queue in here by ADP. By rank, you're looking at Brock, Kyler, Pitts, Goff, Love, all the quarterbacks. Pittman's here. Dobbs is here at wide receiver. Worthy, Concepcion. I mean, Worthy, I guess, with Mahomes could make some sense.
Yeah, I think we could do Pitts and then maybe try to push wide receiver to the next pick, and that could be Worthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where I'd go here.
All right, let's grab Kyle Pitts as our tight end 1, ADP of 103. He comes to us at 106. Still some quarterbacks on the board here. Goff, Kyler, Love. Bill goes.
Kyler's
Chuck
stacked
goes,
for us, but I just don't think we need to go 3 quarterback with this. Like at this point, I probably would go with one of the. I'd probably go Pittman or Worthy. Probably Worthy. Just stack it.
Yeah, with the Mahomes. Yep.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing the Sims really like Mahomes. Again, you mentioned him on the show with Eric as well. When you do take naked Mahomes, if you miss out on Worthy, how big of a priority does Kelsey become? And are you taking like a Tyquan Thornton in the last round? If not,
I'm not really taking a Thornton at all. He's never paid off as an 18th round pick that I know of. So I am playing it through Kelsey and Worthy.
Yes, we were reviewing Sam's winning Best Ball Mania lineup earlier today, and historical Best Ball bros will know that Pat famously, despite not liking Tyquan Thornton,
That's the only time I took him all summer.
That's
the only time I took him.
I was the one who liked Tyquan Thornton. I drafted way too much of him.
I know. Year. That's why it's extra special to me, because he was like your most drafted guy or something. And I took him once.
There was an infamous Best Ball Breakfast stream with Sean where we were getting, it was like peak wide receiver avalanche era Best Ball Breakfast. And we were getting just absolutely bodied at wide receiver after kind of going for running back detours early. And I think we took Tyquan Thornton at like pick 105 as like our wide receiver 3, because Sean already was like ahead of him on the ranks, but then we took him like 60 picks ahead of ADP because we just needed a wide receiver. And I will always remember that with Tyquan Thornton. But I mean, what a glow up for him, man. Like to be able to find his niche. I mean, he's never going to live up to his draft capital, but he has hung around in the NFL.
He has, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, the problem with drafting Tyquan Thornton in the second round isn't that he like wasn't an NFL player. It's that he was like a 5th round pick. Like he's a 5th round NFL level wide receiver. He's a guy that like sticks around for a while, and you're like, oh, okay, he's pretty fast. Yeah,
I
but
look
taking
forward
the
to
second round was outrageous.
We can have the same conversation about Kyle Williams in a few years as well.
We might. We might have that conversation.
Or not. Or he just fades into obscurity.
Conversation, yeah.
All right. We're about to pick here in the 11th. We got Lamar and Mahomes. We got Walker, Tout, and Warren at running back. Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy at wide receiver. By ADP, it is Gadsden, Aaron Jones, Jaden Higgins. Jones goes. We got this run of tight ends here, so we could double stack Mahomes. If you want to keep getting receivers, there's Higgins and Coker. By your rank, it's all tight ends in this range. What do you like?
I'd grab Kelsey here. I think Jones would have been the pick for me had he made it. That's at 4th running back. What is left at running back now?
Yeah, running back, you're in Marks, Algier, Keaton Mitchell, Spears, Sampson, Sharbs territory.
Yeah, this is a tough spot. I think we could go Andrews as well. and stack
we
Lamar.
We could do Andrews, or if you want to get a wide receiver, but by ADP, it would be Higgins or Andrews.
I'd be Hunter or Andrews here.
You make the call.
Let's go Andrews and see if we can push Hunter.
All right. Yeah, Lamar, Mahomes. So we get both of them stacked up with Kelsey and Andrews. We do also have Pitts on this team. But yeah, we'll see if we can pull this off with just 3 running backs, Walker, Tout, and Warren, and then the 4 wide receivers will be fine. Jefferson, Wilson, Higgins, Worthy.
Yeah, I do like Hunter a lot. He probably doesn't come back, but
yeah,
it was fun. It's fun to get the Mahomes big stack we have, and then we get Andrews. We get the 3 tight ends here. We're good there. We're pretty good at quarterback. Like a falling Kyler, obviously I would have been into that, but otherwise I think we're pretty good at quarterback.
Have you been getting lots of 3 tight end builds? Obviously Pitts is kind of like a tweener as far as like if you go 2 tight ends with him or 3.
Yeah, I generally have. I heard, you talking with Sam about the 4 tight ends, and grabbing these late tight ends, those guys being values, and I agree with that. I also think that this pocket, there's some value as well. I mean, I think Pitts is a pretty solid pick. We took him at ADP. Kelsey and Andrews. I mean, as far as weekly upside goes, like those guys still have quite a bit of upside to like hit your lineup. And he was talking about tight end hitting the flex. Like both those guys, maybe from, hey, you got to start this guy every week. It's not what it used to be. Sure. But like Kelsey, like popping off, Andrews popping off for like big weeks still, I think is very much in their range. So that's something when you have it stacked too, I think is appealing. And then it's more like what else was there, Pitts felt like, hey, there's not a running back here that I'm super excited about. And then Andrews was similar where we go, if Aaron Jones is gone, he's the running back I would have wanted there.
All right. The sidekick is live here for us. It is going to want us to get a wide receiver.
About 5 runs ahead of schedule.
Yeah. Lamar and Mahomes at quarterback, Kenneth Walker, Tootin, and Warren at running back, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy at wide receiver, and then those 3 tight ends, Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, and Mark Andrews here. You still got the stomach for Woody Marks in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, he's got like probably a little standalone value, and then he has like pretty clear contingent value. So it's not my favorite thing, but I do, he's like one of these guys where like he pops up and I'm like, really? And then I like check everything and I'm like, I think we have it right. So
are you excited to take Travis Hunter here, who we did not expect to make it back to us?
I'm super excited.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't think we would get him.
Me either.
But I just felt like so fun to have Andrews.
It was.
I'm very excited.
Even though, are you worried about this, according to Underdog, a week 1 bye for Mark Andrews?
Week 1 bye is the best
week.
Bye.
You're right. That's the best week. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way early.
Yeah.
All right, we got a 2-3-5-3.
If he really had a week 1 bye, like that would move him up. Like I would be psyched. I'm sure the Sims would love that.
All right, Woody Marks, Debo, Trey Tucker, and then a trio of other running backs here. Who do you think makes
Woody
sense?
Marks? I'm into as far as because he's a running back. If there's another running back you wanted here, though, I wouldn't fight you.
I do love Brian Robinson as my favorite, but I have a blind spot on Woody Marks, so let's use the solver to make me have a tough
the sidekick, please.
The sidekick. Mixing up all my tools. Let's see here. Here's the squad: 2-4-5-3. Lamar, Mahomes, Kenneth Walker, Tootin, who we do pair with Hunter, Warren, Woody Marks, Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Higgins, Worthy, Hunter, Pitts, Kelsey, Andrews. Yeah, this is like one of those builds that feels really uncomfortable in the moment, just with how ingrained we are of trying to get those wide receivers early. But when it really starts to take shape, you really appreciate how strong it is at some of the non-wide receiver positions. One
of the things I would say that maybe like, we're always talking about like you have to be uncomfortable in drafts, you have to like push things and like we're very comfortable doing that at running back. Like both you and I are comfortable being like, we'll get there. Like, don't worry, we'll figure it out at running back. But like sometimes I feel like maybe we haven't like pushed ourselves a little bit on wide. Like, can we land the plane if we don't have 4 to 5 early wide receivers? And sometimes you will feel like you have not. In the same way that like you have like busted 0 running back teams. You're like, well, all the running backs went. This team probably sucks. But if we are trying to push things at running back, can we get away with pushing things at receiver as well? I think we did that successfully here. We got the 3 receivers. We never fell super behind. We got Xavier Worthy stacked with Mahomes. We get Travis Hunter at a major value, in my opinion. I mean, there's no reason that he should be here at 13-10, but we got him. So now we're in good shape. And like, we're not super overpowered at running back. I think we kind of, we're okay there. It's the onesies actually that we potentially are racking up excess points. And the hope is, Walker's awesome. Tout hits in a big way. Warren's truly the lead back in Pittsburgh, but it's actually, we unlocked the ability to go Mahomes and Lamar and stack them both up is really what we did.
And I think it kind of comes down to, even if we include like Worthy, Pittman, Concepcion, or maybe we don't, but you just go to this round 11 range where you have the Shakir, the Wan'Dale Robinson, the Omar Cooper, the Coker, where you're almost just saying like, these guys aren't that different than the wide receivers I'm going to take in round 17 and 18. You can get your Ridley and your Cooper Kupps if you want the Shakirs. You can get your Striblings and your Jeremy Bernards if you want the Omar Cooper Jr. And so just power through the pain of having low volume wide receivers through this point and you'll still land it.
Yeah. And like we get some Omar Cooper popping up in the sidekick. We get some we get Shakir sometimes, but it's not like he's not a priority. It's not like what the build is about. It's like, Shakir makes sense for this team or whatever, but trying to build through, the strength of each pocket is really, the preferable approach.
You want to take top suggestion here, Debo, and talk about him?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's, one obviously left for dead a bit by ADP. I've started to see some more takes like pro Debo. Obviously didn't look great at the end of last year, but what do you think you and the Sims are seeing here with him at 178?
There's just like a certain, hang on, let's do this one.
You want to do Tank Dell to pair with Woody Marks here, get another wide receiver?
Let's do it. Yeah, this wide receivers like borderline strength, depending on how things work out. I think with Debo, we're just like seeing him consistently fall over the course of the offseason because he hasn't signed yet. But I mean, he's not like he's 30 years old, which normally I wouldn't be citing as like a plus, but he's not 34 or something. Like I don't think it's over. He had 1.66 yards per route run last year, which is not terrible. We didn't see him crater. He's not what he was, peak 49ers, but he was like a legit star then. So I don't know. I mean, I anticipate him signing somewhere and moving up from this ADP, like to get him at 15-10. Like I think he'll probably be someone I don't take much of once he signs because I'm guessing he will move up. The landing spot will determine that to some extent, but yeah, he's just like, I think Deebo Samuel plays football this year. I think he's going to be a starter. I don't think he's going to like smash necessarily, but you get him at 15-10, he's going around guys that, I mean, he went after Jerry Jeudy, man. Like, I don't know. There's not a lot of opportunity. Like Antonio Williams went like over a round before. Like Antonio Williams might be nothing, Isaac Tesla is off the board. Like to me, I'm like, Debo is still a professional NFL wide receiver that will be starting for someone. I just don't know who yet. And I think I'm getting a discount at this point. I think I'm getting most of the discount is just like people don't like clicking a free agent in May.
Yep. Yeah, you know where would be a great fit for him? Love to see him with Jaden Daniels on the Commanders. I feel like that would be really
that would be actually, I'd be into it. Honestly, unironically into it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see him with Daniels too much last year, you know?
Where are the other like logical / enticing landing spots?
Raiders.
Raiders. Yeah.
Raiders would be good. You know,
Okay.
like, God damn it. Have you thought about having a receiver? Like one?
Oh, I thought you were asking me if I've thought about the Raiders, and I was like, I try not to.
I try not to.
I try not to. I prefer
Raiders would
thinking
be
about
fun.
the Browns and the Jets and the Steelers, who I apparently just keep drafting over and over again in these contests.
Yeah, Browns and Jets we don't want. Browns and Jets, I would regret some Debo picks.
I assume at this point too, like with his career, like yes, he wants to get paid, but he's probably you would hope he'd be a little choosy about where he goes, you know, as far as wanting it to not be just an absolute black hole vortex for production. All right, we're on the clock here. Liking the Sean Tucker or Alvin Kamara on this build. You like one of those?
Yeah. I'd be happy with. I prefer Tucker because I think he's good, and I think Kamara's pretty washed. And after this, a little later than usual because we're holding off for you to do a little extra.
Thank you.
But I'll be on with Greg Branos talking through some coach speak, and some of that coach speak is Alvin Kamara, them being like, he definitely exists. He is tough and psychic though, so maybe him existing is enough.
Quick, speaking of he is existing at the top here, Rodgers, Hurst, other options.
I'd be fine with Kamara building out, you know, a couple scratch offs on this running back room.
Yeah, and I wrote about that in the newsletter too with the Kamara, where it's like, you know, we've kind of all been working under the assumption like just be done, hang it up, whatever. And then he's like, yeah, I think I'd even be willing to rework my contract, or I guess that was the reporting, to stay with the Saints. Like he's gonna be the third down back on this team, and we've already seen a team like the Jags give third down work to an unproven rookie over ETN. Why wouldn't it happen with a proven vet like Kamara?
Yeah, I mean, it is funny because the Saints keep talking about him like they're like, yeah, I mean, like they'll be like, hey, what do you think Alvin Kamara's role on the team's gonna be? And they're like, well, I'll tell you one thing, Travis Etienne is a hard worker, and I'm just so happy Travis is here. Like they seem to be like actively avoiding, you know, the Kamara discussion, which is worrying. At the same time, I was like, does Kamara want to play football? Does he want to be on the Saints? And he's just like talking about like how he is a Saint and how like he's excited to play with ETN. So I'm like, okay, so there's like no upside here, you know, but like there's also maybe some kind of like utility to Alvin Kamara where he is catching passes, you know, he's got like a role, and then you do have like a little contingent value. It's just like it's not ever going to be awesome. It's not like the old Kamara's gone. But like if ETN were to be out, then you have at least like a low end running back 2, you know, kind of guy.
Yeah. Yep.
So
let's see. Greg said, who's a free agent wide receiver who only cares about the bag and gives zero fucks about where they land? I would say that's like the majority of them. Like when you like what your Wan'Dale Robinsons, you know, your Romeo Dobbs, like they just, this is your last good contract, like you're almost 100% only optimizing for money, right?
I think that if you care about getting the bag, it's helpful to have signed before May. If you're right, like if you're like Wan'Dale Robinson, I think he's like, I'm gonna get the bag, and like good for you because you probably aren't having like multiple bag getting opportunities in your career. So go get the bag, Romeo Dobbs, Wan'Dale Robinson, all these guys, like Zay Jones, like good for you that you got the bag. But I think if you're here now, you probably should be a little choosy about where you land because you're not getting the bag. The bags have been given out and you didn't get one. So you need to you're playing for another you're signing a 1-year deal that proves you have something left and you're hoping to get extended probably, or you're hoping to, you know, get a 2-year deal next year that has some more guarantees in it or something.
This isn't the best example because the Chiefs are, a perennial contender, but no one was smarter to get the bag than Eli Mitchell last year. Like the day free agency opened, it just got on the line with the Chiefs right away.
Quite a bag. What was his deal?
I mean, considering no one else was going to give him anything, like the fact that he locked it up before it was even 12:01 a.m. was pretty impressive.
But it was like, I think it was a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. It was a bag of sorts. There was money in the bag, I suppose. But
Greg's saying though, like DeKeenan and Diggs, do they need the bag? Probably not. Does Tom Brady need to get a $50 million check to do a Saudi Arabian backed fantasy football league or whatever, flag football league? Absolutely not. We've actually talked about this on Lulz though. Once you get up to a level of net worth, you're now just comparing yourself to the people above you. Like Keenan wants to get paid like Justin Jefferson. Like that's what these guys are always looking at the next thing. I promise you they are not happy with their current level of compensation.
Do you think that like Tom Brady would be like more well adjusted if he like frequented dive bars? Is that what you're saying? Like he just needs to compare himself like in his social life? It's like more regular people.
I'm telling you, Tom Brady's like shit, helpful. Man. I went to Bezos's wedding where he rented out the entire city of Venice to hold his wedding. Like, I better take this check.
I bet if Tom Brady was a dive bar, if he was a regular dive bar, he would be less likely to do any Saudi Arabian backed ventures. I'm willing to make that bet.
This is generally the point in the show where my producer Mark reminds me to actually recap the team that we just drafted. So let's see how we did here with Pat Kerrane on Best Ball Breakfast here. 2, 6, 7, 3. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Kenneth Walker, Bashal Tutin, Jalen Warren, Woody Mark, Sean Tucker, and Alvin Kamara at running back. Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Travis Hunter, Deebo Samuel, Tank Dell at wide receiver. Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. Pat, not a single rookie on this team.
Oh, no. All right. Well, better luck next time.
Yeah, man, you got to have one.
We could always finish second. We could always finish second. It genuinely would be nice. I wonder if in that range where we took tight end, not getting Aaron Jones to come back is a bit of a bummer. Just in that, like, we could have used, I think, a fourth running back in kind of right in that range. So, like, in retrospect, could we have pulled up like a Brooks or a White or a Jones into that kind of Pitts-worthy combo that we did? I think that might have opened up a spot for us to then take a tight end late and not have to take the Kamara Tucker combo to close.
Because I'm looking where we took Pitts at 106. Rodriguez went right before us, but we could have taken Bill at 107.
Yeah,
Gainwell, Mason, Rashad White, Aaron Jones, one of those guys.
I bet if we'd had the Sims going for that a running back would have popped up there, like in part to like prevent us having to feel like, you got to tackle on Tucker Kamara to end, which isn't the worst thing, but it's probably just better to take Pitts and replace him with a running back, and then you can tack on another tight end late. That's probably the 2v2 we'd want to do here. But honestly, I still like the team a lot because you have Kelce and Andrews as the two old stacked tight ends who can pop off for big weeks, but aren't what they used to is like holding down the position. And then so Pitts, I think, is kind of fun to pair with those guys. At wide receiver, we ended up like pushing it and being pretty strong. And then we have some kind of more contingent. We have like 3 contingent guys to pair with kind of it's like a hyper fragile room with like some contingent upside to help fill out the depth. So honestly, I think we did pretty solid here. Lamar and Mahomes obviously is going to be a big strength, especially at the end of the season. And we have Mahomes stacked up with Walker and Worthy and Kelce. So that's really fun. Like you could almost have like a Walker Lamar hot start, and then Mahomes coming on in the playoffs. Little handoff, and hopefully we have more running back production at the end of the season with some of the contingent plays we made.
And I think part of why this felt good is because we did push it kind of twice we considered Worthy where we took Pitts because we had the stack and we're like, let's push it and grab Pitts. And then we also considered taking Hunter when we took Andrews and we're like, let's get that tight end 3. That was kind of like a luxury stab. And we both are very high on Hunter and didn't think he would come back. So the Worthy Hunter falls certainly made this look better than I think it felt in the moment.
We could have felt a little bit boxed out if not for some guys falling, but I don't know. That's just the way these things go. You know, you gotta take some chances, and the chances generally paid off here.
Yes.
So,
Brady wants to know what side of the board feels better to draft from now for you, front or back side.
I think I like to be on one of the sides. It's I think the middle is sometimes where I'm like, you know, like let me think. Probably the front of the two. I do like when I can go like Genty Cook at the 1-2. Yeah, that's pretty fun. And then you can go receiver at 3-4. And then like if a Tootin falls to you at the 5-6, then you can go like Tootin and then a receiver there, or you could go Jadarian Price sometimes if he's there. So those starts are pretty good, but at the front ends, you get the potential to take like Gibbs or Robinson, or even Chase out of the 103, and then you could get Bowers. I like AJ Brown a lot, and then there's still running backs available to you like at the 4-5. I think Scadaboo's and David Montgomery and Travion Henderson are all solid there. Sometimes I pull up Tootin just for fun. So probably the front half I think the front half has like more fun stuff you can do. There's some starts I like out of the back half, but the front half just has more variety.
Right. Yeah. It all depends on how much do you want to emerge from the first few rounds with more than one running back? Because you can see this other side of the board. You get CMC, Hampton, Breece start, Cook, Brown, ETN, a Henry Jacobs start. On the front side of the board, like there's a Gibbs Montgomery, there's a Bijan Javonte, there's a solo Henderson, a solo Jeremiah Love, a Scatabo Judkins. Like it is harder to running back max on the front.
It is. Yeah, you're probably not going to do, but I have done I was about to say you're probably not going to do like 3 straight running backs, but I actually have done that because sometimes you get a Henry or a Chase Brown or Hampton to fall all the way back to like the Robinson pick or the Gibbs pick at 102. And then maybe you go in the third, like Jeremiah Love or even, Josh Jacobs or something. So you get, you can have like Gibbs, Henry, Jeremiah Love. And that's kind of fun too. So I think you're not doing as much like heavy running back starts out of the 102 in part because like you very likely took Gibbs or Robinson. So like running back 1's looking pretty good. But it's not something that you're like locked out of doing depending on how that particular draft falls.
I liked how Lowell Hot Dogs approached this one from the 1. He gets McBride. He grabs Montgomery, pulls him up to 4-5 to pair with Gibbs. Wide receivers are Strong, Pickens, McLaurin, Pierce, Metcalf. And then he comes back in this range and basically doesn't get shut out from that running back window we talked about, where he gets Rico, Gainwell, and White, 3 guys that actually have a pulse.
Yeah. So was that 2, 3, and 4? No, he got he got Montgomery as his RB2. So 3, 4, I like that. Yeah, he does get Josh Downs, and then he also makes sure he doesn't miss the quarterback window. He grabs him Malik Willis, nice value at 144. Jones, he stacks with Pierce at 145. Like this one from the 1 hole, even only having 2 running backs through 7, I think just really prioritizing it here makes it work. I've had a hard time actually clicking Pierce at that price, and Metcalf I've also cooled on a good amount with Pittman and Bernard there, and we still aren't sure Rodgers is the quarterback. So yeah, I think for me, I would have taken Lemon with at least one of those 2 picks. But like construction wise, I think it's definitely a cool build. Plus the the Daniel Jones double makes the Pierce pick, definitely more palatable.
While we are nitpicking Lowell hot dogs, and I think we can because he won the NBA Dog Bowl 2 years ago, so we can pick nits. So he takes Jacoby as his third quarterback instead of Rodgers. He doesn't have any other Cardinals, or no, he does have McBride. Sorry, he does have McBride. But if you're thinking about 17 game equity, do you prefer Rodgers with Metcalf over Brissett at this point?
I think I prefer. I think either are fine. Certainly, you get Rodgers later, so
Yeah.
You'd like that. You don't have to reach as much for. I mean, these are low value picks, but still. And then he actually did get Freiermuth too, so he, could potentially have gotten. He took Freiermuth on the same turn, so you could have pushed Rodgers. Actually, although I say that, but Rodgers went in the 18th, so Rodgers isn't coming back. So you would have had to go Rodgers Freiermuth there, and he already had McBride stacked up. So with that in mind, I think it's probably pick your preference. And then the other thing to consider is he has Daniel Jones. So the early part of the season where Brissett is likely to be providing some value is helpful
True.
to this build.
Yep. Well, Pat, let the people know. You said so immediately following this here in 5 minutes, we're going to have the premiere of the cast announcement for So You Think You Can Tout, who made the cut from 135 down to 27. You'll be redirected there, or you can go search for it on the So You Think You Can Tout YouTube channel. And then immediately after that, Pat, you guys are going live on, have you been doing it on both your channels, a simulcast, or how have you been doing it?
It's definitely on the Legendary Upside channel. I'm not, you can definitely find it there. If it's simulcast, even better.
There you go. That's all you need to know there. And you've been doing That's Fair, of course, with Sam on Thursdays, 5:30 Eastern. You will be on ADP Chasing tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. Anything else people should know about?
Legendary Upside, I'm going to be launching one single quarterback PPR dynasty rankings later today. So look for those. And check out the Sidekick at legendaryupside.com/sidekick. Best ball rankings, underdog, DraftKings, all over there. Legendary Upside. Check it out.
I should also mention too, I think I said this early in the stream, I'm going to do a special Monday night edition tonight, an After Dark for YouTube members, where for anyone who, didn't make the show, who submitted, and they also didn't get feedback from Mayo or whatever, if they're actually looking for some constructive criticism and or feedback, I'm going to just open up the floor. I'll pull up some submissions. We can watch some. I'm happy to give some of my reactions, some of my feedback, and we can kind of go through some of the behind the scenes process, because up to this point, we optimized that video to get Pat Mayo's reactions as the Simon Cowell, but I want to be able to give some feedback from me and our internal team on what we liked and all of that good stuff. So that'll be tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. After you guys watch the premiere, if you're licking your wounds or you're just curious, you can tune in and we will talk some shop about So You Think You Can Tout. I'll ask you, Pat, I know you've checked it out a little bit. Do you have any, favorites, locks, contenders, new faces that you're vibing with? What have you seen?
No, I liked, like I was saying, and you asked me before and I still don't remember the submission's name, but the one guy who's like one of the younger guys, not the guy who was the jogger, but the other dude.
Oh, Michael O'Hara.
He jumped out to me as like, because I think you guys had him as like solid, but I was like, I enjoy that one. The comedian, the guy's a comedian that I enjoyed. Zach McDonald. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, and I can't believe you guys didn't give the gorilla his due. I know. That gorilla worked so hard.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Remember my friend Brian, who we met up with after the draft in Philly? He's a guy
yes,
with forever. Yeah. That was him who did.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. For people who are really old school, Fantasy Football Comedy Hour, the first podcast I did, Brian was one of the co-hosts on there. Literally the funniest person I know, one of the best performers I've ever seen on stage, character work, all of that. He was the man behind Evan Silverback. Unfortunately, I don't think he was strongly considering entering the out game. Yeah,
well, I don't think. Yeah, somehow an AA gorilla might struggle for consistency on the touting streets. You know what I mean?
Exactly. All right. Like Pat said earlier, next week we will have the schedule out for Best Ball Breakfast, which will be very fun to do our first batch. I'm sure the Sims will be hard at work incorporating the schedule in. We'll get to see kind of how these correlations are being affected as far as in the suggestions and in the ranks. So looking forward to that right now. So you think you can tout Premier revealing the first cut down, who made this cut tonight, special edition of After Dark to talk through it. We'll see you guys tomorrow for ship chasing, ADP chasing, I should say, off and on the clock, all of that good stuff. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Producer Mark, thank you to Sam, to Levitan, to Kerrane. We'll see you guys next time on Best Ball Breakfast. Enjoy the premiere. Peace.